Chapter 648. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Young Lord, the Sixth King is one of Night Moon's most powerful combatants. He's known as the heretic King Yi Lingxia in the Grand Clarity domain. Now that he's back, it won't be a problem unless it's a saint or an invincible venerable. Yi Ling Lan said excitedly. You're right. Yi Ling Lan said excitedly. This is a good sign. I wonder what news Sixth Uncle will bring back. Knight Sorrow's mind was somewhat unsteady, and he couldn't calm down as he paced back and forth. Knight Sorrow, calm down. Didn't Sixth Uncle say that Uncle and Auntie are still alive? They're just injured. It's not a big problem. Yang Lei pulled Knight Sorrow to sit down and said. Knight Sorrow nodded, took out a jar of wine, and drank 2 mouthfuls. Sikong Chiyu said, the Yi clan is going all out. The day they come out, the battle prowess of a saint with spatial attributes will definitely be astonishing. The Taiching domain will be bathed in blood. Whoever committed the sins back then will have to pay for them. Wait. Knight Sorrow, calm down and wait. The Knight Sorrow knows about the current situation and should have made some decisions. Aoi looked at Knight Sorrow and said. Alright, you two make some side dishes. We want to drink some wine. Yang Lei said to the 2 maidservants. Then, Yang Lei, Sikong Chiyu, and Aoi accompanied Knight Sorrow for a drink. Then, Knight Sorrow brought Tianyu to the edge of the lake to practice his movement technique. Anyone would be under a lot of pressure. He hasn't felt the warmth of a family for so many years. His parents are just 2 words to him, and they're nothing, Aoi said. Knight Sorrow began to cultivate by the lake, fusing his movement technique, spear technique, and palm technique together. Yang Lei and the others didn't disturb Knight Sorrow. They knew that Knight Sorrow needed some peace and quiet. Every day, Yang Lei and Sikong Chiyu would go to the God-slaying squad's training ground to cultivate with the others. The main reason was that they didn't want to leave the squad. Qing Ji also came to cultivate every day. She was motivated by the others, which gave her the motivation to cultivate. Seeing Aoi cultivate and Aoi's realm made Ling Long, Yun Huang and the others very envious. This realm was too rare. Yun Huang was at this realm now, but his mastery wasn't as deep as Aoi, let alone Ling Long. The 2 asked Aoi for advice, but she didn't know what to say. Yang Lei then told them about Aoi's situation. Yun Huang and Ling Long felt helpless because they couldn't learn from Aoi. 9th Senior Sister, why don't we talk to Captain and let 6th Senior Sister join our God-slaying squad? Ho Jian said. I can't do that because 6th Senior Sister almost never participates in any battles. 6th Senior Sister is a rank 5 cultivator, but you can ask her if she has ever killed a human or even a demonic beast before, Yang Lei said with a smile. 6th Senior Sister, you've reached rank 5 and haven't killed a human or a demonic beast before? Xue Ling looked at Aoi in surprise. Other than sparring, I've only fought once. When I was sending 13 home, I met the enemy who killed my 12th junior brother. But she was the one who killed him. Aoi pointed at Yang Lei embarrassedly. Goddess. She's really an otherworldly goddess. I'm really impressed, Ling Long said as she rubbed her forehead. Don't worry, I can help you guys refine pills, brew wine, or something like that, Aoi said with a smile. You guys don't know, but the good wine that Knight Sorrow brought out was all brewed by 6th Senior Sister, Yang Lei said proudly as she pulled Aoi's arm. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation, 9th Senior Sister, can 6th Senior Sister really join our God-slaying squad? Not everyone in the God-slaying squad is a combat member. I really like 6th Senior Sister, Nan Liue said. You'll have to ask Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow respects 6th Senior Sister very much and doesn't want 6th Senior Sister to be wronged. Let's wait for Knight Sorrow to come back first, Yang Lei said with a smile. At the mention of Knight Sorrow, the others were speechless. Everyone knew that Knight Sorrow was currently cultivating by the lake at the foot of Sky City. Half a month later, Yi Lingxia returned. When he heard that Night Sorrow was cultivating under the lake, he went directly to the lake. At this time, Night Sorrow was using the space attribute to increase his speed and displayed his spear skills. Yilingxia could only see his shadow and hear the sound of air being torn apart. This shocked him, because even supremacies weren't as fast as Night Sorrow. Noticing Yilingxia's arrival, Night Sorrow stopped cultivating. He wiped the sweat from his forehead and walked up to Yilingxia. "Sixth uncle, is there any news about my parents?" "There is. It's all good news. Let's go back and talk about it. You've been cultivating for half a month. Don't you know how to take care of yourself?" Yilingxia said and flew toward Sky City. Night Sorrow called out to Tianyu and followed closely behind. When Night Sorrow and Yilingxia returned to the mansion, Aoi, Yang Lei, and Sikong Chuyu had already finished brewing tea. Yi Linglan had also come over. Sit down. Let's talk slowly." Yilingxia waved his hand at Night Sorrow. Then Yilingxia told him about the current situation of Night Moon CZ clan. Prince Wuyo's injuries had already healed. However, his life source had been damaged in the battle back then. He still had 100 years of lifespan left. In addition, young concubine Wuyo was also doing well. 10 years ago, she had given birth to a daughter named Yi Nianxiao. Hearing the name Yi Nianxiao, Night Sorrow's eyes moistened. He knew that in his parents' hearts, he was Yi Xiaoxiao. It's good that they're safe. As long as they're safe. Night Sorrow muttered softly. However, the family wants us to stabilize the situation first. No saints in the family can leave the Night Moon Sea. In addition, it'll be difficult for them to take revenge. There are some things you might not know. Back then, the Tianfeng dynasty sent out a saint to ambush us. They heavily injured Brother Linghuan and several imperial uncles. After 2 imperial uncles retreated with their clansmen, they died from their injuries. Yilingxia's voice was somewhat low because this was the death of the Night Moon. If no saints come out, how long do we have to wait? Sikong Chuyu was somewhat anxious. If the experts of the Night Moon dynasty didn't come out, Night Sorrow's side would be under a lot of pressure. I'll hold on. As long as I don't fall, I won't let the Night Moon dynasty get hurt again. My parents are fine, and I still have my sister. I can fight without any worries. Night Sorrow exhaled. Calm down. There are many 5th-generation members of the Night Moon dynasty, but they're not direct descendants. If their bloodline isn't pure enough, they won't be able to cultivate the spatial rend. You're the only direct descendant of the Night Moon dynasty's 5th generation, the only young master of the Night Moon dynasty. How can you not pay attention to your own safety? Besides, you still have them. A man must be responsible. Dying is actually easy, but sometimes living is difficult. Didn't I also endure it? Yilingxia slammed the table and said. Thank you for your reminder, uncle. Night Sorrow looked somewhat apologetically at Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. He knew that his words just now were somewhat irresponsible. Brother Linghuan is already a half-step saint. It's just that he was too heavily injured to recover, so he's only half a step away from becoming a saint. The other imperial uncles and Brother Linghuan are much weaker. Nephew Wuyu originally also had a chance, but if his body's problem isn't solved, it's all talk. Yilingxia sighed. If there's a problem, then solve it. There's nothing impossible. Sikong Chuyu said. Chapter 649. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/little. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. You need resources? That's easy. What do you need? Night Sorrow asked directly when he heard this topic. Q, head, N, hair, you need treasures to replenish life force. Brother Linghuan, Imperial Uncle Shenxian, and Imperial Aunt Shenyu all need them. Even Prince Wuyu needs them. Cultivation resources are also in short supply. Back then, the Night Clan took away most of the resources, but the elders of the clan were reluctant to use them. They used them all to nurture the younger generation of the Night Clan, Yilingxie said helplessly. I can solve this problem. There is no better treasure than life spirit fluid and life crystals to replenish life force and repair life source. High-level cultivators use top-grade spirit stones and top-grade spirit stones. I have both, Night Sorrow said excitedly. To be able to help the Night Moon dynasty, help his ancestors, and heal his father, Night Sorrow didn't feel bad about the resources. Instead, he was very excited. Everything he had accumulated in the past could finally be put to good use. You really have them? Yilingxie was also excited. If Night Sorrow said these things, then the return of the Night Moon clan would be much earlier. Here are 5 bottles of life spirit liquid. Here are 30 life crystals. Here are 200 top-grade spirit stones. This storage ring is filled with high-grade spirit stones. Yi Shan took out a bunch of resources in one go. The heavens bless the Night Moon. The heavens really bless the Night Moon. I don't need that much. Let me count. There are 30 drops in one bottle. 2 bottles of life spirit fluid should be enough. Yilingxie looked at the bottles of life spirit fluid. 6th uncle, don't worry about me. Take enough, Night Sorrow said. 2 bottles are enough. Since you have life spirit fluid, give nephew Wu Yu a few life crystals. Top-grade spirit stones can only be used by peak venerables, half-saints, and saints. 6th uncle, take half. As for the top-grade spirit stones, 6th uncle, take all the top-grade spirit stones. I still have some. Night Sorrow interrupted Yilingxie's calculations. Good. With these resources, the Night Moon clan will rise without obstacles. Our clan members with old injuries can also recover. Yilingxie was excited. His hands trembled as he held the resources. The upper echelons of the Yi clan brought their juniors and retreated to a certain region of Night Moon Sea. After a discussion, they decided to leave the lightly injured Yilingxie outside to gather information and gather resources. But after so many years, the resources that Yilingxie had gathered were limited. Now that Yi Shang had directly solved the problem, how could he not be excited? Injured? Then I have the medicinal cauldron spirit liquid here. Not only is it effective for healing, but it is also very effective in assisting cultivation. It is even more effective than high-grade spirit stones. Yi Shang took out the wine jug that contained the medicinal cauldron spirit liquid. Controlling his emotions, Yilingxie opened the wine jug and glanced inside before looking at Yi Shang. You prodigal child, you actually used a wine jug to store such a precious treasure. Give 6th uncle a third of it. Aoi helped Night Sorrow fill the cauldron of life spirit fluid and gave it to Yilingxie. Night Sorrow, you've solved the Night Moon clan's problem. 6th uncle can't thank you because you're the young master of the Night Moon clan. But I'm really excited, Yilingxie said after receiving the resources. Because I'm from the Night Moon clan, should do this. I look forward to the Night Moon clan's rise, Night Sorrow said. Also, the clan already knows about your situation. They ordered me to take good care of you and stabilize the current situation. I think that nephew Wuyo and niece-in-law should be very happy to hear that you're well. The Night clan is also very happy. The Night clan's direct line of descendants is a big deal. It's always been a worry for everyone. For many years, the Night clan's lack of direct descendants has been a big problem. This time, you should be able to change it, Yilingxie said as he looked at Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. Uncle, Night Sorrow didn't know what to say. Alright, I have to send these resources back as soon as possible. This is the clan's biggest problem. Once it's solved, we won't have to worry anymore. Yilingxie nodded at Night Sorrow and left. He couldn't wait to shove the resources into the hands of his clansmen. 13. Did you lose a lot of resources this time? Yang Lei asked with a smile. She wanted to change the topic to make Night Sorrow feel more relaxed. No. You all know that I don't use spirit stones for cultivation. It's fine as long as I have enough resources. I can still handle this level of resources. In fact, the only thing useful to me is the life essence. Spirit stones and cauldron spirit elixirs are nothing, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow's cultivation could be supported by his soul power, chi, and bloodline talent. The pagoda of time and space could help him. He could still continue. However, the cultivation of the myriad Dao's treasured tome was more troublesome. Currently, Night Sorrow was using the black tortoise crystal. This was the 5th stage of the Tao querying realm and the 6th stage of the spirit refinement realm. Night Sorrow had also prepared the resources. The blood tortoise crystal could help, but Night Sorrow had a higher goal. The 7th stage of the myriad Dao's treasured tome was not the end. He still had to cultivate after the 7th stage. However, he didn't have any supplementary resources. Night Sorrow was saving the life essence for backup. You're really different. You're ruthless. Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and said. Hee, I still have what you need. What I have is yours, right? 6th senior sister, if you need anything, just tell me, Night Sorrow said. Sure. You're my junior brother. I won't stand on ceremony with you. Aoi smiled at Night Sorrow. I forgot to ask 6th granduncle to bring some elixirs back, Night Sorrow said. There's no hurry. It won't be too late to give them to 6th granduncle when he comes back, Sikong Chuyu said. Also, with 6th granduncle around, our engagement ceremony can go on. When 6th granduncle comes back and stabilizes things here, I'll tell him to help me make a trip, Night Sorrow said with a smile. That's right. With 6th granduncle and Father Gu, it's totally possible, Yang Lei said. Right now, Yishang's heart was very relaxed because his parents were safe. All that was left was to fight, and the thing that Yishang was least afraid of was fighting. Night Sorrow, you're relaxed now. You have to take care of your body in the future. Don't work so hard. Sikong Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow and said. Seeing Night Sorrow cultivate so hard every day, Sikong Chiyu's heart ached. I know. My cultivation has been rising a little fast recently. I have to stabilize it. If I want to break through to the supremacy realm, I have to stabilize it. Night Sorrow nodded. He did not want to have an unstable foundation. Yes, it's best to stabilize it. A solid foundation will be of great help in the future. Aoi nodded. I'll ask Yin Huang. If there are any suitable cities, we'll go and destroy 2 more. This way, they'll be suspicious and want to defend themselves. They won't care about Night Moon City. Night Sorrow planned to go out and kill. That's fine, but we still have to be stable. The news must be accurate. We can't be tricked, Sikong Chuyu said. Chapter 650. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. That's a good idea. The GU family shouldn't be as vigilant as the other dynasties. The other dynasties have been frightened by us, so their defenses must be tight. On the other hand, the GU family should be more relaxed. Yang Lei agreed with Night Sorrow's opinion. Then, Night Sorrow went to communicate with Yun Huang. Those shameless people. I've scouted a few cities. In the taverns and inns near the city lord's mansion, there are cultivators with cultivation bases that I can't see. If I can't find them, then I must have hit a nail on the head. Yun Huang told him about the recent situation. These days, Yun Huang had been going out to scout, but he couldn't make a move even after scouting many cities. This made him very angry. He was looking forward to fighting, but he couldn't fight in this situation. Then let's change targets. You go scout the cities of the Sky Pillar family in the Sky Pillar region. We can do it there too. Night Sorrow expressed his thoughts. Okay, I'll go scout now. Once I'm done, we'll kill. Yun Huang got up and left. His hands were itching for a fight. After Yun Huang left, Night Sorrow returned to the mansion and chatted with Yang Lei, Sikong Chuyu, and Aoi. Night Sorrow was in high spirits because he knew that his parents were fine. There was no better news than this. As for his father, Yi Wuyo, the source of his body had been damaged, but with treasures like life spirit fluid and life crystals, he could recover. Love go little say W. Chu. While Night Sorrow was happy, Yang Lei and the others were also happy. They all knew that Night Sorrow couldn't let go of his family. Now, the news brought by Yi Lingxie couldn't be any better. In the evening, they drank a little wine together. Then, Night Sorrow went to the lake below the city in the sky to cultivate. Since he did not lack realms, his cultivation would naturally increase. Night Sorrow wanted to increase his combat strength. After cultivating for a while, Night Sorrow had an idea. He wanted to try using the Void Air Shield to replace the Space Air Shield to see how fast it was. Night Sorrow's body began to move as he activated his speed. After flashing around a few times, Night Sorrow discovered a special situation. The space shield could cut through obstacles, but after the nothingness shield changed shape, the sharp nothingness shield's tip was able to melt away some of the obstacles. Dissolve all obstacles. Such an effect shocked Night Sorrow. This ability was heaven-defying. Soon after, Night Sorrow circulated his true chi and poured it into the reincarnation spear. Then, he condensed his true chi into a point and shot it out. After shooting out the spear, Night Sorrow discovered a change. A small empty area appeared in front of the spear tip. Everything was melted away, but the point was very small. This situation made Night Sorrow understand that it wasn't that the nothingness attribute wasn't strong enough, but that his true chi wasn't condensed enough. If he condensed it to the extreme, the melting effect would occur. After understanding the characteristics of the nothingness attribute, Night Sorrow was shocked. This meant that as long as he continued to cultivate, when the quality of his true chi reached a certain limit, he could form a nothingness shield and melt away all attacks that came close. This meant that the attack wouldn't touch his body. After stabilizing his emotions, Night Sorrow continued to cultivate. Although the nothingness attribute was strong, it was still inferior to the space attribute in terms of speed. After all, the space attribute was the strength of speed. After cultivating for 2 days, Night Sorrow felt that his speed and agility were no longer a problem. Then, he returned to his mansion. K.O. New chapter number 1. There were only servants in the mansion. Yang Lei, Sikong Chuyu, and Aoi weren't there. Night Sorrow smiled and walked towards the god-slaying squad's martial arts field. He guessed that the 3 of them were there. When he reached the martial arts field, Night Sorrow saw that everyone was cultivating. Aoi was also cultivating with Ma Shizhuang and the others. Captain is here. Seeing Night Sorrow arrive, everyone greeted him. 6th Senior Sister, you're also cultivating the formation combination? Night Sorrow asked with a smile. It's quite interesting, so I'm practicing with everyone. Aoi smiled and nodded at Night Sorrow. Captain, everyone wants to invite 6th Senior Sister to join our team. Ho Jian and Nan Liue walked over and said. It's not suitable. My 6th Senior Sister doesn't like to kill or participate in battles. Night Sorrow shook his head. He didn't want Aoi to do something she didn't like. But cultivators have to fight, Linglong said. 6th Senior Sister has me as her junior brother. If she wants to kill someone, I'll do it for her. Night Sorrow replied without hesitation. Captain, you've misunderstood me. Fighting isn't necessarily about killing people. We also have to fight to protect ourselves. Besides, our god-slaying squad isn't necessarily a combat member. We need people for logistics, planning, and so on. Isn't 6th Senior Sister good at alchemy? We can't expect you to do alchemy alone, Linglong said. 6th Senior Sister, what do you think? After hearing Linglong's words, Night Sorrow thought for a moment and looked at Aoi. He felt that Linglong's words made sense. Aoi wasn't willing to kill people, but she had to fight. After all, cultivators had to protect themselves. I quite like this squad. If you don't force me to kill people, it's fine. Aoi nodded at Night Sorrow. All right. Liue, Linglong, you guys make the arrangements. After hearing Aoi's words, Night Sorrow thought for a moment and made a decision. The members of the god-slaying squad practiced their battle techniques and joint attack formations. Night Sorrow meditated at the side. In the evening, Night Sorrow brought Yanglei, Sikong Chuyu, and Aoi back to the mansion. Sixth senior sister, even if you join the god-slaying squad, just do what you like. If you don't want to fight, then don't fight, Night Sorrow said to Aoi, who was brewing tea. Sixth senior sister understands. Sixth senior sister is very touched by your words today. With a junior brother like you, sixth senior sister is content. Aoi looked at Night Sorrow and nodded. What words? Night Sorrow thought for a moment but couldn't think of anything. It should be. If sixth senior sister wants to kill someone, I'll do it for her, Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. She naturally knew that this sentence had touched Aoi the most. Yes, there is such a sentence. Sixth senior sister is very content. Back then, eldest senior brother caught Chu Lingxiao and taught him a lesson. Eldest senior brother said that if anyone bullied me, he would teach them a lesson. Now, 13th junior brother is even more domineering than eldest senior brother, Aoi said as she wiped the corner of her eyes. Yang Lei patted Aoi's shoulder. They all love sixth senior sister. No one said that to me. Because you can do it. Besides, there are some things that you don't need to say. 13th junior brother will do it for you. Aoi looked at Yang Lei and said with a smile. After a night of cultivation, the few of them once again arrived at the martial arts practice grounds. At this time, Yin Huang had returned. Captain, it's done. I went to Jiyu family's rebuilt Ji Wang city to investigate. I think we can make a move. That's the origin of Jiyu family. If they suffer another heavy blow, they will suffer greatly, Yin Huang said. Chapter 651. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We will provide you with interesting novels to read. Night Sorrow then gathered his men. Sixth senior sister, you don't have to go. Love go little say, Chu, alright. Aoi nodded. Let's go. Night Sorrow led the members of the god-slaying team to the teleportation array. After a few teleportations, the group arrived at Ji Royal City. Night Sorrow, who had arrived first, killed the guards of the Jiyu family's teleportation array without hesitation. Then, the others teleported over one after another. 2 groups of people will guard the teleportation array. The rest of you, kill behind me. Remember, do not approach the city lord's mansion without a long whistle. Night Sorrow rode the Tianyu toward the city lord's mansion. Everyone, hurry up. Don't be too far away from the captain. Also, don't hesitate to set fire to any new buildings. Burn all the high-rise buildings and extravagant buildings that don't seem to be privately owned. Ho Jian gave the order. Night Sorrow threw out torches from time to time. As long as there was a building that fired ballistae, Night Sorrow would throw his torch over. Moments later, Night Sorrow arrived at the city lord's mansion. Behind him, flames filled the sky. Damn it, you piece of shit. Someone rushed out of the city lord's mansion and roared at Night Sorrow with a face full of anger. He was Jiyu, Yuandang, who had discovered that Night Sorrow had bought the Saint Crystals in Qingtian City and wanted to kill him. Love go little say, Chu, seeing you, I remember that you wanted to rob me of my treasure last time. Today, I will rob you. Night Sorrow rushed toward Yuandang in a flash. Seeing Yuandang, Night Sorrow recalled Yuandang's hateful face. Now that he had the chance, of course, he wanted to kill him. At this moment, Night Sorrow was moving extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, he was right in front of Jiyu and Yuandang, thrusting his samsara blade towards Yuandang's throat. Night Sorrow's speed made Yuandang's expression change drastically. He never thought that Night Sorrow would be so fast. His venerable binding was completely ineffective, so he could only wave his long sword to defend himself. Jiyu, who was only a 3rd grade venerable, was knocked back with a single spear strike. Night Sorrow unleashed his speed, and the reincarnation spear continuously struck Jiyu's body. Ji could only passively defend himself, and couldn't even dodge. The battle went on for a while, and no one intervened. Night Sorrow knew that there were no other experts here. He let out a long whistle and called for the members of the god-slaying team to attack the City Lord Mansion. Hearing Night Sorrow's call, Yun Huang and the others rushed over and started to attack the City Lord Mansion. They started to kill and set fire to the City Lord Mansion. Ji Yu and Yuan Dang didn't know what to do. Even if they wanted to dodge Yi Shang and attack the others, they couldn't, because Yi Shang was way too fast. Yi Shang's constantly flashing body blocked Ji Yu's way of retreating and attacking the others. When he felt that it was about time, Night Sorrow's Shin-Chi burst out, and he performed the 7 stars brilliant moon spear art. He even controlled the energy to a single point. Yuan Dang couldn't dodge, so he could only wave his sword to defend himself. Without making any sound, Yuan Dang's long sword was broken by Night Sorrow's spear. This was because this was the melting effect of the void attribute. When Yuan Dang's Shin-Chi was exhausted by the energy of Yuan Dang's long sword, Night Sorrow's myriad Dao Book's energy kept up. He continued to move forward and caught up with Yuan Dang, who was retreating, and directly thrust his spear into Yuan Dang's chest. As Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear burst out with the energy of the myriad Dao Book, Yuan Dang's internal organs and dantian were all shattered. I can't accept this. Looking at Night Sorrow, Yuan Dang's eyes were filled with unwillingness. So what if you can't accept this? You wanted to rob me, so you're destined to die. Night Sorrow pulled out the reincarnation spear, then with a shake of his hand, he cut off Yuan Dang's finger that was wearing the storage ring, and took the storage ring in his hand. At this time, the other members of the god-slaying team quickly killed all the guards of the City Lord Mansion, emptied the warehouse, and set fire to it. Next stop, Ji Yu's ancestral land. Continue to kill along the way. Night Sorrow gave the order to the group of people. What happened next was even smoother. There was only one venerable in Ji Yu's ancestral land, whose cultivation level was lower than Yuan Dang's. Naturally, he was killed by Night Sorrow. Then, the group of people emptied the newly sent resources of Ji Yu's ancestral land, and set fire to the newly rebuilt ancestral land. This time, they were even more ruthless. They directly burned down all the gardens and buildings of Ji Yu's ancestral land. Ho Jian, Xueling, Yun Huang, you guys lead the team back. I'll dismantle the teleportation formation and cover the rear. After returning to the teleportation formation, Night Sorrow gave the order. Captain, you don't need me anymore? Ho Qingjie looked at Night Sorrow and asked. There's nothing else to do. I'll ride the Tianyu very quickly, so I'll be back soon. You guys can go now. Night Sorrow waved his hand at the group of people. After watching them teleport away, Night Sorrow looked at Ji Royal City, which was covered in flames. Night Sorrow knew that Ji Royal City was completely destroyed. It was useless for Ji Yu's family to rebuild it. This was because no one was willing to come here. It was easy to be caught in the flames of war. Not to mention outsiders, even the members of Ji Yu's family would reject Ji Royal City. After watching the members of the god-slaying team teleport away, Night Sorrow dismantled the teleportation formation. Then, he rode the Tianyu and left as well. He flew toward the nearest strategic teleportation formation in Tianji Tower. If the others stayed behind to cover the rear, they could only use the traditional teleportation formation. However, Night Sorrow was different. He could use the Tianji Tower's strategic teleportation formation, which would save him a lot of time compared to the others. 2 days later, Night Sorrow arrived at the nearest strategic teleportation formation in Tianji Tower. He teleported to the Taiching region base in Tianji Tower and then returned to the city in the sky. When Night Sorrow arrived at the martial arts practice field, the other members were cultivating. They were not worried about Night Sorrow. After all, if they were not particularly powerful venerables, they would not be able to threaten Night Sorrow's safety. You're really fast, Ling Long glanced at Night Sorrow and said. She guessed that Night Sorrow had used the strategic teleportation formation to return. Did anyone get hurt? Night Sorrow asked. No, not even minor injuries. Moreover, we seized a lot of resources. Here are the alchemy materials. Nan Liue took out a storage ring. Give the materials to 6th senior sister in the future. 6th senior sister, you can refine them when you're free. Call me if you're too busy. Night Sorrow looked at Aoi and said. He wanted to find something for Aoi to do so that she could have a sense of belonging in the team. This would also allow everyone to recognize Aoi more. Okay, I'll do it then. Aoi nodded. Of course, she understood Night Sorrow's intention. I have to refine pills too. I have to prepare some resources for Night Moon, Night Sorrow said with a smile. He had obtained a lot of resources from Ji-Yu and Yuan Dang's storage ring. Ji-Yu's family did not expect Ji Royal City to suffer a second blow, so they invested a lot in rebuilding it. All the resources were in Ji-Yu and Yuan Dang's hands. Of course, they now belonged to Night Sorrow. Then, Night Sorrow went to a corner of the martial arts practice field and started refining pills. He wanted to turn all the materials he could refine into pills. This way, it would be easier to categorize them and he could use them whenever he wanted. Before leaving after refining for a day, Night Sorrow threw a few more storage rings to Nan Liue. Everyone, if you don't have a storage ring, just give it to them. If you don't get one, don't worry. Everyone will have one. Captain is so domineering. Following Captain is like living a good life, Ho Jian said with a smile. Chapter 652. Genius 1 second. Remember love go divided by Shao. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow cultivated peacefully. Yun Huang would sometimes go out to investigate if there were any suitable cities to attack. He was now addicted to robbing. Baidu search AI go female sign Shao say www.aichuxs. So on this day, Night Sorrow had just arrived at the martial arts arena when Yun Huang returned. Captain, it's getting lively now. Ji-Yu's family is looking for you all over the world. The price for your arrest is the same as the other dynasties. Whatever. There's no difference between being wanted by one family and being wanted by several. Who knows who will feel the pain and who will feel the pain? Night Sorrow didn't care about this. However, almost all the cities of the major factions are guarded by mid-level venerables and above. It'll be very difficult to break in easily. Yun Huang sighed. It doesn't matter. We don't have a time limit. We can fight whenever we want. If they have the ability, they can keep watching. Now that mid-level venerables are watching, when we become venerables, we'll let their high-level venerables watch. Let's see if they can defend. Night Sorrow smiled. Knowing that his parents were fine, Night Sorrow's mentality had some invisible changes. He became much calmer and more cheerful. Yes, Captain is right. Let them watch. As long as they can't, we'll go and hurt them. Ling Long clapped. You're not like a woman at all. Yun Huang muttered. Actually, I'm very feminine, but not to you or the enemy. Do you understand? Ling Long glanced at Yun Huang with disdain. While watching everyone cultivate, Night Sorrow sorted out his medicinal pills and gave Nan Liue a few bottles of clear void pills. As for void pills, the god-slaying squad had enough in stock. Night Sorrow had just brought the girls back to the mansion when Yilingxia arrived. Night Sorrow personally brewed a pot of tea for Yilingxia. Sixth uncle, do you have any good news? It's all good news. The family has said that the date of your return will be brought forward by a large margin. Your parents have also urged this king to take good care of you. Ling Huan, Brother Wang has also sent word that you're not allowed to mess around. If you have the time, do research on a few direct descendants. After Yilingxia finished speaking, he laughed to himself. I'm going to fight on the night moon, not give birth on the night moon. Night Sorrow was speechless. He didn't know why his family would issue such an order. You have to understand. They are afraid. You are Night Moon's only direct descendant of the 5th generation. Your descendants are Night Moon's direct descendants. How could the elders of the clan not be worried? Said Yilingxia. I don't know how the direct descendants are divided. Could it be that I'm the only direct descendant of Night Moon's 5th generation? Night Sorrow said. It depends on your talent. You have to be able to use the true spatial rend. However, there aren't many Night Moon's direct descendants. Even the Emperor can do it, but the Prince's generation is far from it. The Prince's generation, which is the 4th generation, only has 2 people. Your father, Prince Wuyo, can do it. The other is Prince Wumo, who can barely do it. Prince Wumo used a secret technique to raise his power. What's the current status of your bloodline talent? After explaining the situation, Yilingxia looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Speaking of this, I really need to discuss it with 6th uncle. All this time, my spatial rend was taught by Aunt Fei. It might be different from Night Moon's spatial rend. As for my bloodline talent, I've already activated the 5th one. The 6th one is even more difficult. It will take a long time. As for how long it will take, I can't say, said Night Sorrow. What did you say? Yilingxia stood up, his eyes filled with shock. 6th uncle, is there something wrong with what I said? My Aunt Fei is Lord Golden Phoenix. She knows people from Night Moon, so she knows a little about spatial rend. Is there anything wrong with that? Night Sorrow also stood up. Not that. You're saying that your 6th bloodline talent hasn't been activated. That's it. Say it again. Yilingxia shook his head, his eyes fixed on Night Sorrow. It's very difficult to activate the 6th bloodline talent. Does the family have a secret technique for this? Asked Night Sorrow. In the family, other than the Moon Empress, the other direct descendants only have 5 bloodline talent points. Even Brother Linghuan only has 5.5. If you ask this king how to activate the 6th bloodline talent point, how will this king answer you? Yilingxia sat down, but his eyes were still fixed on Night Sorrow. Then after the 6th, I'll figure it out myself. Night Sorrow was just asking. He didn't hold much hope. After the 6th. You mean there's more? Yilingxia's teacup trembled, spilling tea all over himself, but he didn't notice. Beneath my dragon bones, there are 7 bloodline talent points. But activating them is very difficult. Right now, I'm just in a natural state of cultivation. Night Sorrow nodded. Yilingxia stood up, his hands gripping Night Sorrow's arms. The Moon Empress only has 6 bloodline talent points, but you actually have 7. This is incredible. We have to inform the family. We have to inform the family. Also, this is something that only the few of us know about. Even if you beat us to death, we can't tell anyone else. This is a matter of life and death. The Moon Empress only has 6 bloodline talent points. Night Sorrow was shocked. He didn't understand what was going on. Let Granduncle check and confirm. Then report to the family. This is going to turn the heavens upside down. Yilingxia was a peak venerable, but he still couldn't control his emotions. Then, Yilingxia used his bloodline talent to sense Night Sorrow's bloodline talent points. Then he nodded. Remember, you can't tell anyone else about this. With that, Yilingxia left. He had to tell the family about this. It seems my situation is different from the other members of the family. Night Sorrow thought for a moment. You're more talented than the Moon Empress. This is an incredible matter. Yang Lei nodded. 13th junior brother, it's best to keep this a secret. Otherwise, the enemy will do anything to deal with you. Aoi was a bit worried. 6th senior sister, 9th senior sister, I want to ask you something. The Night Moon dynasty has ruled the Grand Clarity domain for a long time. Why is it only the 5th generation? Night Sorrow asked, puzzled. One you more? New, the hashtag fastest beyond E, that's not how it's calculated. Some sects and forces count the generations according to their most outstanding members. The Moon Emperor is the most outstanding, so his children are naturally the second generation. They have nothing to do with the previous generation. Of course, such iconic figures have to be outstanding. Other sects and forces count the living members as the first generation. In short, it's not the same. Sikong Chuyu explained to Yishang. I understand now. Right now, we have to work hard to increase our strength. The most important thing is to turn potential into strength. Night Sorrow nodded. Chapter 653. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. In the mansion of Ji family in Qingtian City, Ji Haitian was so angry that he smashed the main hall of the family. He simply couldn't control his anger. Ji Royal City was destroyed once again, completely destroyed. There was no need to rebuild it. The cost of rebuilding it was even more expensive than building a new city. However, this wasn't what made Ji Haitian angry the most. What made him most angry was that Ji Fenglan had disappeared. He had asked around and found out that Ji family had exchanged for the spirit fluid of life. However, Ji Fenglan didn't give it to him and directly disappeared with all the resources and space crystals stored in the family. How could Ji Haitian not understand such a situation? He knew that Ji Fenglan wanted him to recover and rise again, which made him very angry. Therefore, he directly sent people to do the task. He must exchange for the spirit fluid of life and space crystals. In addition, Ji Haitian also searched everywhere for Ji Fenglan. However, he couldn't find him for a while and gave up. If Ji Fenglan deliberately hid, he wouldn't be able to find him. In an inconspicuous mansion in a small city located in Qingtian realm, Ji Yuhao had been cultivating himself with great effort. He was brought here by Ji Fenglan. Ji Fenglan didn't want the turmoil in the family to affect Ji Yuhao. Ji Yuhao already knew that Ji Royal City was destroyed by Night Sorrow and the others, which made him very angry. However, with Ji Fenglan's order, he didn't dare to go out. Helplessly, Ji Yuhao turned his anger into the motivation for his cultivation. Night Sorrow worked hard to improve his cultivation base. When he was tired, he would go to the god-slaying team to chat with them, drink tea, or go to the lake to cultivate. Night Sorrow also cut down a big tree and built a small boat. When he wasn't cultivating, he would go to the boat and let it drift, while he brewed tea and watched the scenery. Night Moon was safe and sound at the moment. His family was safe and sound, so he had nothing to worry about. If there were any hidden worries, he was worried about Tai Chuan of the Medicine Valley. However, he could only wait until he became a venerable before going there. Yi Linglan knew that Night Sorrow liked to sail a boat on the lake, so he found a craftsman to build a simple yet stylish wooden boat for Night Sorrow. There was a room at one end and a tea table and rocking chair at the other end. It was very well made for Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow didn't reject it. Anyway, it was already done, and it wasn't hard. He could just use it. Yang Lei, Aoi, and Sikong Chuyu would accompany Night Sorrow to drink tea and chat when they were not cultivating. Only tea version, all M is %8 pirate tea version +4 because he had the small boat to rest, drink tea, and meditate. Night Sorrow didn't have much time to return to the mansion. When Night Sorrow finished cultivating again, Yilingxia came. "Sixth uncle, come and have some tea." Night Sorrow waved at Yilingxia. After sitting down, Yilingxia said to Night Sorrow, "There's some good news. Prince Wuyo used the life spirit fluid and his body is fine. Also, Brother Linghuan's old injuries have completely healed. He's gone into seclusion to make the final push." "That's great. I don't have anything to worry about," Night Sorrow said happily. "The emperors and Brother Linghuan have given orders to you again. This king is to make sure you don't mess around." Haha. Yilingxia was also very happy. "That's good. The ancestors of the family are Night Moon's foundation. Since they're fine, everything else is easy to handle," Night Sorrow said with a smile. Yes, that's why sixth uncle is also happy. Also, sixth uncle has communicated with the Yun dynasty and passed brother Ling Huan's letter to the Yun dynasty monarch. They will do their best to help us stabilize the situation. Later, sixth uncle will go and make other connections to stabilize the situation completely, Yi Lingxie said. Sixth uncle, I still have something I need your help with. I've proposed marriage to the Sikong family, but without the elders of the family present, the engagement ceremony can't go on. If uncle feels that it's okay and feels that you can make an appearance, then I'll go and call for Father Gu, who raised me. With the two of you present, the engagement ceremony can go on, Yi Shang said. Okay, that's great. Do this immediately. Otherwise, if you have a child first, it'll be bad for your reputation. As long as you're engaged, having a child will be justified. When do you leave? After hearing Knight Sorrow's words, Yi Lingxie became excited. He was very concerned about whether or not Night Moon's direct descendants would have any descendants. I'm going back to the Eastern Profound Domain to pick up Father Gu who raised me. I'll go to the Medicine Valley of the Eastern Profound Domain first to hold the engagement ceremony. Ninth senior sister hasn't held an engagement ceremony yet, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. We'll do as you say. Also, sixth uncle wants to meet Golden Phoenix. We still have some friendship in the past. Sixth uncle also contributed to the matter of the first base in the Empyrean Tower. Sixth uncle also has some acquaintances in the Empyrean Tower. He also needs to communicate with them, Yi Lingxie said. Then we'll set off immediately, Night Sorrow said. Yi Lingxie wasn't a sloppy person. He directly returned to the mansion with Night Sorrow and communicated with the women. Aoi also had to attend Night Sorrow's engagement ceremony because she was his junior brother and his junior sister. They were both the most important family members. After informing the others, Night Sorrow, Yang Lei, and Sikong Chuyu put on their masks while Aoi and Yi Lingxie put on their veils. The group took the teleportation array and left Sky City. If it weren't for Yi Lingxie, Night Sorrow would have taken everyone directly to Tianji Tower's strategic teleportation array. However, Yi Lingxie was Night Moon's subordinate. If they took the strategic teleportation array directly, it would be disrespectful to Tianji Tower. Night Sorrow didn't want to do that. After exiting the teleportation array of the Taiqing Domain's mansion, Night Sorrow's group arrived at the teleportation array of the Taiqing Domain. Upon seeing Night Sorrow, Yang Lei, and Sikong Chuyu's masks, the guards of Taiqing City let them in without asking any questions. After arriving at the Qingtian Domain, Night Sorrow hesitated for a moment before telling Sikong Chuyu about the situation. They had to bring Father Gu with them for the engagement ceremony. They would start in the Medicine Valley. I'm fine. Don't think so little of me, Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. That's good. I hope you can call me Auntie Fei too, Night Sorrow said. Yes, of course. Yang Lei nodded. Then, the group continued to teleport. Night Sorrow originally thought that they would have to fly to pass through the blank areas without teleportation arrays. To his surprise, because of the development of the Eastern Xian region's base, Tianji Tower had set up some public teleportation arrays that could directly teleport them to the Realm Sea. The number of teleportation arrays in the Taiwa domain had also increased. The blank areas had also been filled. In other words, they could teleport directly without the need for a strategic teleportation array. Night Sorrow was very satisfied with this situation. Recently, he had been using the strategic teleportation array, so he didn't know about the changes in the situation outside. After arriving at Dongxian City, they took off their masks. We'll rest at the mansion tonight. We'll return to Danding City tomorrow. Looking at the sky, Night Sorrow announced his decision. He wanted to invite Wu Lingfei to his engagement ceremony. Chapter 654. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/little. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. They sat down in the backyard. Night Sorrow hadn't gone to see Wu Lingfei yet. Wu Lingfei appeared because she sensed an expert coming. Evil King Ling. Wu Lingfei was startled to see Yi Lingxie. Golden Phoenix? You've entered the sage realm. I should call you Lord Golden Phoenix. Yi Lingxie cupped his hands at Wu Lingfei. He hadn't seen her face before, but he could recognize her from her aura. We were friends back then, and we're still friends today. You called me Mistress Wu Kei back then, and you can still call me that now. Wu Lingfei found a seat and sat down. Good. Mistress Wu Kei entering the sage realm is truly worthy of celebration. Yi Lingxie also sat down. Since evil King Ling is fine, why haven't you come to see me for so many years? Wu Lingfei asked. Back then, it was the sage of the Tianfeng dynasty, Qin Yuan, who took action. What's the point of me coming to see you? Dragging others down with me won't change the situation, so there's no point. Yi Lingxie sighed. As long as you're alive, there's a chance. Now that you've appeared, Night Moon shouldn't be too far away. It's just that without a sage, it's a bit troublesome, said Wu Lingfei. Linghuan, Brother Wang set up a seal. It's a seal that the Yi clan sealed. No sage can come out, so we'll have to wait. Yi Lingxie sighed. A while ago, I heard an expert talk about Night Moon. I knew your strength was still there, but no sage didn't want to come out. I didn't expect it to be a seal, said Wu Lingfei. Someone else knows about Night Moon? That shouldn't be. I'm the only one who can contact the Yi clan now. Yi Lingxie was shocked. This meant that Night Moon wasn't safe. She's a high-level saint. She's friends with the Moon Monarch, so she won't be a threat to the Night clan. If it was before, I would definitely go out and fight you. But now, it's not appropriate for saints to participate in a realm war. However, if Night Moon needs help, the Eastern Xian region can still send some people. Wu Lingfei directly expressed her willingness to help. High-level cultivators all had their dignity. She didn't want to wait for Yi Lingxie to speak. That would damage his dignity. Friends didn't need to do that. Thank you. For the time being, we will not counterattack. We will wait for Brother Ling Huan to take that step. If there is a need, I will ask. Love go little say W. Chu. Yi Lingxie voiced his thoughts. That's fine. You can ask whenever you need. Night Sorrow, you seem to be in a good state. The knot in your heart should have been untied, Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. I'm fine now. I want to hold an engagement ceremony. I've invited my sixth uncle. Also, Auntie Fei is my relative. Of course I have to invite Auntie Fei. I don't know if it's convenient for Auntie Fei, Night Sorrow said. Even if it's inconvenient, you still have to go. Who asked you to be Auntie Fei's only relative? After saying this, Wu Lingfei looked at Yi Lingxie. She realized that she might be at a disadvantage in terms of seniority. These are two different things. A personal relationship is a personal relationship. It doesn't involve anything. Noticing Wu Lingfei's gaze, Yi Lingxie naturally understood what it meant. It's good that you understand. When are we going? Wu Lingfei glanced at Yi Lingxie, then turned to Night Sorrow and asked. Tomorrow, we'll go to the Medicine Valley. Then, we'll go to the Qingtian region's Jiyu family. Love go little say Night Sorrow said. No problem. Then we'll go to the Medicine Valley tomorrow. Also, King Ling Xia, let's not talk about our friendship. When the Tianjin Tower established the first base in the Taiqing region, the Night Moon dynasty did their best to help. This is a favor that the Tianjin Tower owes the Night Moon dynasty. When we go to the Jiyu family, we can also go to the Tianjin Tower's headquarters and discuss with the Chief K Master and the others to see if they can help you, Wu Lingfei said. In the end, Yi Lingxie said that he wanted to preserve the current situation and not be attacked before the Yi clan's people returned. Then, Night Sorrow arranged for everyone to rest. He knew that the situation would get better and better. After a night's rest, Yi Shang led the group to Danding City. Then, Yi Shang went to pick up Papa Gu and told him his idea. Papa Gu was 100% in favor of Night Sorrow's engagement ceremony. This was the scene he wanted to see the most. Yang Lei went to the Golden Flame Palace but did not see Yu Yangyu. After Yu Yangyu's cultivation level increased rapidly, he did not often cultivate in the Golden Flame Palace. Original. First $FAJ in the Danding Palace, Night Sorrow saw Yu Yangyu. Then, Hua Yunpeng appeared. Wu Lingfei's and Yi Lingxia's auras were too strong. He had no choice but to know. The Great Elder was in seclusion and did not appear. After Night Sorrow introduced them, Yu Yangyu and Hua Yunpeng, who knew Wu Lingfei's and Yi Lingxia's identities, bowed and greeted them. Wu Lingfei was the city lord of Dongxian City, so the Medicine Valley had to respect her. Yi Lingxia was a peak supremacy, so Yu Yangyu and Hua Yunpeng also had to respect him. After learning about Night Sorrow's idea, Hua Yunpeng did some calculations and found out that tomorrow was an auspicious day. The engagement ceremony was set to be held tomorrow at Taishan Peak. After that, Yi Shang led the group to the bamboo forest peak to rest. Yi Shang didn't mention Tai Chuan to Wu Lingfei. He didn't want to cause trouble for her. Once he entered the Venerate realm, he could go and investigate by himself. Yi Lingxia and Papa Gu chatted. He did not look down on Papa Gu, who was at the third level of the core formation realm. Instead, he was very respectful and grateful to Papa Gu for raising Night Sorrow. After resting for a night, the group arrived at Taishan Palace. Many people had come to Taishan Palace today. It was almost a sea of people. Almost all the elite disciples of the Medicine Valley had come. The engagement of the Vice Valley Master and the Elder was a big deal. After entering the palace, everyone chatted casually as they waited for the auspicious time. After all, they were all particular about auspiciousness. Night Sorrow was surrounded by his senior and junior brothers. A group of people congratulated him and asked him many questions. Night Sorrow replied with a chuckle. He was really happy. Actually, Night Sorrow was not the only one who was happy. Yu Yangyu and his disciples were also very happy. They all hoped that Night Sorrow would be happy. When a gong sounded from the direction of Danding Peak, Yi Lingxia straightened his robes and stood up. He cupped his fists at Yu Yangyu. First of all, I am very grateful to the Medicine Valley for raising Night Sorrow, a member of the Yi clan. Night Moon will never forget this. In addition, as Night Sorrow's elder, I would like to ask the Valley Master to let the two disciples of the Night Moon take care of Night Sorrow. 2. Why 2? Yu Yangyu was stunned. Yu Yangyu was not the only one who was stunned. The others were also stunned. This was because everyone knew that Night Sorrow and Yang Lei were engaged. Chapter 655. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We will provide you with wonderful novels to read. Yu Yangyu looked at Night Sorrow and Aoi. He had never thought about this, but looking at it now, the truth was similar to what Yi Lingxia had said. After a moment of awkward silence, Yu Yangyu looked at Night Sorrow. 13. What do you think? Yu Yangyu's words pushed Night Sorrow to the front. Night Sorrow didn't know how to answer. No, that would hurt Aoi's face. Okay. What was that? This was a little unreliable, mainly because Yi Lingxia didn't follow the rules. No one would have thought of this. Aoi, what do you think? Seeing that Night Sorrow didn't answer, Yu Yangyu looked at Aoi. At this moment, Qing Ji's face was red. She was the same as Yi Shang. She didn't want to say no because that would hurt Yi Shang's dignity. Similarly, saying yes was also inappropriate. Valley Master, look. They're both embarrassed. At the very least, they don't hate each other. Isn't the best way for a man and woman to treat each other with respect? Yi Lingxia said. The way he did things was a little evil. It was very appropriate for the word evil in his name. Valley Master, I think it's okay too, Hua Yunpeng said with a smile. 13. Then Master will leave your 9th and 6th senior sisters to you. Your 6th senior sister has a gentle personality. You can't let her be wronged. Love go little say once Yu Yang Yu thought for a moment and felt that this was a good thing. Aoi also needed someone to take care of her. She was particular about being outstanding and responsible. Night Sorrow had nothing to say. You're still not speaking. Gong Xian, who wasn't far from Night Sorrow, pushed Night Sorrow. Disciple won't disappoint master. Night Sorrow was being forced to do something beyond his ability. He could only bow in return. Come, welcome gift. This is the identity medallion of my clan's young master's wife. This seat carved it overnight. In addition, this is a teleportation bracelet. This is a meeting gift for this seat and Father Gu. You can each have one. Yi Lingxia took out 2 blood thread jade pendants and 2 silver bracelets. Following which, Yu Yang Yu took out a piece of ore. This is the star cloud iron. 13, take this and find a blacksmith. He can upgrade your weapon. Thank you, master. Night Sorrow bowed and took it. Alright, you guys are now engaged. Auntie Fei will give each of you a weapon. Wu Lingfei took out 2 spirit-grade swords and gave them to Yang Lei and Aoi. Originally, Wu Lingfei had prepared 2 weapons for Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. But now that Yi Lingxia had messed around, she could only take them out. I'm drunk. You're marrying one and giving one away. 13. The treasures of Taishian Peak have all been brought home by you. Shi Tianlin knocked on Night Sorrow's shoulder. How can you say that? How can you say that? Give one away. 6th senior sister is a treasure. How can you give her away? Yang Lei glared at Shi Tianlin. Shi Tianlin rubbed his nose and didn't say anything. Following which, a large banquet was set up in front of the plaza. Everyone drank and chatted happily. Night Sorrow, Aoi, Yang Lei, Sikong Chuyu, and Wu Lingfei sat at the same table. 6th senior sister, don't think too much. I'm your 13th junior brother. I'll take care of you no matter what. 6th senior sister, if you have someone you like, just tell me. I'll tell master, Night Sorrow said. Do you know how to talk? You idiot. I'll deal with you later. Yang Lei glared at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow also didn't know what to say. Yi Lingxia had been too reckless today. He wasn't mentally prepared. Aoi blushed and didn't say anything. W. Update. Fastest on DG Yi Lingxia, Yu Yang Yu, Hua Yunpeng, and Papa Gu were drinking. Love go little say Netkue a moment later, Yi Lingxia came over. Night Sorrow, did granduncle do well? Very well. Night Sorrow said with a smirk. Then, Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu sent Papa Gu, who was a little drunk, to rest. Yi Lingxia and Wu Lingfei also left. Yang Lei and Aoi served the guests. Night Sorrow, I've embarrassed you today. I didn't prepare a greeting gift for you, Papa Gu said. Father, you raised me. That's the greatest gift, Night Sorrow said. After comforting Papa Gu and seeing him rest, Night Sorrow came out of the bamboo house. Sikong Chuyu brewed tea and accompanied Wu Lingfei and Yi Lingxia. Chuyu, 6th granduncle was reckless. You've been wronged, Wu Lingfei said to Yi Lingxia. I'm really sorry about this. I only spoke because I thought they were suitable. Don't worry. If Night Sorrow dares to bully you, I'll take care of him even if it means offending my superiors. Yi Lingxia said somewhat embarrassedly. He was helpless. He just wanted to see Night Sorrow's side flourish. Night Moon's dynasty needed people to flourish. It's nothing. Actually, I like 6th senior sister. She has a good personality and knows how to take care of Night Sorrow better than 9th senior sister and I, Sikong Chuyu said. You're thinking too much. I just said that I'm taking care of 6th senior sister. Once she has someone she likes, this matter will be over, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Yi Shang, 9th senior sister called you an idiot just now, and you still haven't realized it. Do you think 6th senior sister is a casual person? Would she break off the engagement? Just treat 6th senior sister well in the future, Sikong Chuyu said. Some people have a gentle personality, but they have some persistence in certain aspects. Chuyu is right about this. She has a gentle personality and needs others to care for her. You have to take good care of her. Women don't have it easy, Wu Lingfei said. In the evening, Yang Lei and Aoi came back. Many guests were received by them. It was reasonable for them to receive guests from their maiden family. Knight Sorrow received guests from his side. It was the same for most engagement ceremonies. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu smiled and went to rest, leaving behind Knight Sorrow and Aoi. 13th junior brother, why are you looking at me like that? It's been hard on you today. There was a touch of blush on Qing Ji's face. She had never thought that she would be involved in the engagement ceremony today. 6th senior sister, don't say that. It's my granduncle who messed around and made you embarrassed, Knight Sorrow said. It's okay. Don't think too much, Aoi looked at Knight Sorrow and said. I've always respected 6th senior sister. I won't let 6th senior sister suffer any grievances in the future, Knight Sorrow said seriously. I know 13th junior brother loves senior sister. It's okay today. You're tired. Go and rest, Aoi said to Knight Sorrow with a smile. She had mixed feelings at the moment. She couldn't refuse today, but she wouldn't take it as a joke. It was impossible for her to fall in love with someone else like Knight Sorrow said. So after coming back, Aoi had been paying attention to Knight Sorrow's words and actions. This would determine her happiness. Seeing Knight Sorrow's attitude and promise, Aoi knew that her happiness was not a problem. Chapter 656. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/little. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. After returning to the main building, Yishang thought for a moment and still felt uneasy. He was worried that this matter would conflict with Qing Ji, so he returned to the courtyard. Why are you here again? Are you worried about senior sister? It seems that 6th senior sister was right not to refuse, because 13th junior brother is a man with a sense of responsibility. Seeing Yishang return, Qing Ji's heart felt a lot better, because it was true that Yishang was worried about her. After chatting with Aoi for a while and sending Aoi to the pavilion to rest, Knight Sorrow went to cultivate. After cultivating for a whole night, when Knight Sorrow woke up to cultivate his spear art, everyone else woke up one after another. Aoi also brought a basin of water. Senior sister, don't be like this. Knight Sorrow was a little embarrassed. That's right. He just got engaged yesterday and he's already getting water to wash his face. Senior sister, you're spoiling him too much, Yang Lei said with a smile. No. 13, tell me, did senior sister get water for you to wash your face the last time you came back? Aoi was a little embarrassed and looked directly at Knight Sorrow. Yes, it's true. Senior sister got water for me to wash my face the last time I came back to set up the teleportation formation. Knight Sorrow said. Even if it wasn't true, he would still say it was true because he wanted to protect Aoi's dignity and face. It seems that we have to work hard too. Otherwise, senior sister will be the most favored, Yang Lei said with a smile. Yes, a gentle and considerate woman like senior sister is the most fatal to a man, Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. You two are also bad. You even know how to bully 6th senior sister, Aoi said. She knew that this was not a real bully, but an acceptance. After packing up, Knight Sorrow expressed his intention to leave because he still had to go to the Sikong family in the Qingtian region to hold the engagement ceremony. Also, he couldn't leave the Night Moon dynasty all the time. No one objected to Knight Sorrow's suggestion. Soon after, the group arrived at the Taishian Grand Hall. After bidding farewell to Yu Yang Yu and the others, they took the teleportation circle and teleported to Bailing City. Under the guidance of Sikong Chuyu, the group arrived at the Heavenly Cauldron residence in the Sikong residence. Both sides introduced themselves and Yilingxia explained the purpose of his visit. That's good. I've always been anxious about this matter. Everyone, stay here first. I'll inform the family and choose the nearest auspicious day to settle this matter. Sikong Tianding said with a smile. He didn't mind Night Sorrow having another woman. Sikong Luyun also came over to greet Wu Lingfei and Yilingxia. He knew both of them and they were considered seniors. The date was set for 2 days later. Night Sorrow, Yang Lei, Aoi, and Papa Gu stayed here. Wu Lingfei and Yilingxia left and went to the Tianji Tower headquarters. If the Night Moon dynasty wanted to rise again, they would also need the help of Tianji Tower. In addition, Yilingxia and Sikong Luyun had also talked. The Sikong family was also willing to help the Night Moon dynasty. In fact, this was considered a risky investment because once the Night Moon dynasty rose again, it would be a colossus that the Sikong family couldn't compare to. If the Sikong family won the bet, it would be an opportunity for the Sikong family to develop. Night Sorrow didn't ask about these things because Yilingxia would tell him when he returned. The following engagement ceremony was also completed smoothly. All this time, Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu only lacked a wedding ceremony. Their relationship was recognized by everyone. After the engagement ceremony was completed, Sikong Tianding wanted everyone to stay for a while, but because everyone had something to do, he could only give up. Night Sorrow and the others also returned to Sky City. Wu Lingfei also followed. Love go little say ku, Night Sorrow, your place is really good. How about this? Leave a loft for Aunt Fei. In the future, Aunt Fei will also come and stay here. After arriving at Sky City, Wu Lingfei looked around and said, Of course, no problem. Aunt Fei, don't worry, Night Sorrow said. Then, Night Sorrow arranged for Wu Lingfei to stay. Night Sorrow and Yilingxia chatted alone for a while. Tianji Tower was willing to help the Night Moon dynasty rebuild. They even sent the Shadow Palace warriors who had never participated in battles before into the Night Moon area. In other words, without the participation of invincible venerables and saints, it was impossible for anyone to break in. This made Night Sorrow feel more at ease. After all, saints wouldn't participate in such a battle easily. There were only a few invincible venerables, and they wouldn't fight easily either. Sixth uncle, does this mean that Night Moon is safe for now? Night Sorrow said. Look at the S version I chapter 0T on H, yes, with the help of Tianji Tower and the Yun dynasty, there are no problems at the moment. We'll stall for time. While building the Night Moon, we'll wait for the family to come out of the Night Moon Sea, Yilingxia said. Then I feel more at ease. Night Sorrow breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. You still have to leave more descendants for Night Moon. That's the key, Yilingxia said. Parents' achievements will affect their children's achievements, right? That's why I won't have children for now. Let's wait and see. Night Sorrow spoke his thoughts. Sigh. You're right. Sixth uncle is really conflicted, Yilingxia said with a sigh. After resting for a night, Yilingxia went to work again. He had a lot of things to do now. He needed to communicate with all parties and preside over the Night Moon situation. Night Sorrow called Wu Lingfei to his wooden boat to chat on the lake. Watching you grow up step by step, Aunt Fei feels very emotional, Wu Lingfei said as she looked at Night Sorrow. It's the first time I've seen Aunt Fei feel emotional, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Your appearance has affected the structure of the 9 regions world. Evil King Ling told Aunt Fei that the resources you provided ensured the return of Night Moon. In other words, the rise of Night Moon was influenced by you. The rise of Night Moon will definitely cause a reshuffling of the 9 regions world. It has far-reaching implications, Wu Lingfei said. If my grandfather enters the Saint Realm, will he be a match for the Tianfeng dynasty saint? Night Sorrow asked worriedly. Tianfeng Saint Qin Yuan is a 5-star saint. Even if he faces Aunt Fei, he won't necessarily win. Cultivation doesn't represent combat power. The undefeated King Yi Linghuan is a classic example of the weak defeating the strong. As long as he enters the Saint Realm, it will be difficult for Tianfeng Saint Qin Yuan to win. This is the advantage of attributes, Wu Lingfei said. That's good. Night Sorrow breathed a sigh of relief. Actually, Auntie Faye has asked Grand Elder Xia before. Among the saints, the stronger one is the Qing Tian domain Saint Yin Shi. However, she's not strong enough to interfere with the Grand Clarity domain situation. Wu Lingfei analyzed the situation to Yishang. This is always an unstable factor. After all, her fists are bigger. Whatever she wants to do, we can only passively accept it, Night Sorrow said with clenched fists. Chapter 657. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with interesting novels to read. Who is the strongest expert in the 9 regions? Night Sorrow asked curiously. I don't know either because I'm a newcomer among the saints. Anyway, it's not Saint Yin Shi. She won't dare to act recklessly. Wu Lingfei said with a smile. I feel more at ease after listening to your analysis. Night Sorrow poured a cup of tea for Wu Lingfei and said. You just have to work hard in your cultivation. However, there's no need to be anxious. You're doing very well now. Who doesn't know your name, Night Sorrow? The God-slaying team has become famous. Even the Eastern Profound region has become famous. You've already achieved your initial goal. Wu Lingfei said. Night Sorrow did not say anything. Although he was very happy with the current situation of the Night Moon dynasty, he did not like the feeling of his fate being controlled by others and the situation being decided by others. When this matter is over, you can go to the 9 regions and 18 prefectures to increase your experience and enrich your life. Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow and said. She knew what Night Sorrow was. She knew that Night Sorrow had the heart of an expert. Night Sorrow nodded. He also had the same thought. After staying with Night Sorrow for a while, Wu Lingfei returned to her residence. Night Sorrow had the heart of an expert, but so did she. Therefore, she would make the best use of her time to cultivate. Night Sorrow was lying on a deck chair on the wooden boat, staring at the flowing clouds in the sky. The sky was the same, but the world under the heavens was different. Every day was the same, but the world under the heavens was constantly changing. After resting for a while, Night Sorrow controlled the small boat to reach the shore. Then, he practiced his spear technique and continued to perfect the combination of his movement technique and spear technique. When he killed Ji Yu's Yuan Dang, Night Sorrow had already experienced the superiority of speed. With speed and strength, his attacks would be overwhelming. While Night Sorrow was cultivating, the members of the God-slaying team were also working hard in their cultivation. With the support of sufficient pills and everyone's hard work, many of them had already reached the 4th level of the Void Inquiry stage. The combat prowess of a mid-Void Inquiry stage expert and an early Void Inquiry stage expert were completely different. Aoi spent most of her time cultivating with everyone. She wanted to change herself. The engagement ceremony gave her some ideas. She didn't want to be a burden to Night Sorrow, and she also didn't want to be a burden to Night Sorrow. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu sensed this. Yang Lei went to Night Sorrow's boat and told him about Aoi's situation. 6th senior sister, you don't have to do this. I'll go back and talk to her tonight, Night Sorrow said with a frown. After that, he drank a pot of tea with Yang Lei and cultivated by the lake with Yang Lei until evening. Then, they returned to the mansion together. 6th senior sister, there's something I want to talk to you about. Night Sorrow said. So formal. What do you want to talk to me about? Aoi sat in front of Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow got up and poured a pot of tea for Aoi. 6th senior sister, you don't like fighting and killing. You don't have to force yourself. Just live the way you like. No. I've thought about it for the past 2 days. I've always been thinking about it. There's nothing bad about increasing my combat prowess. If there's a battle, I'll try my best to minimize the casualties. Aoi said. 6th senior sister, you don't have to do this. As long as your 13th brother is alive, I'll deal with the battles. Night Sorrow said. It's not like that. You, ninth junior sister and Chi will fight together while I'll be a bystander. That's why it's necessary to increase your strength. Also, sixth senior sister's cultivation level is very high. If you don't work hard, it'll be a waste. Aoi shook her head at Night Sorrow. Yishang sighed. Sixth senior sister, you decide for yourself. Alright, sixth senior sister isn't a child. I know what to do. Am I not your senior sister? Aoi said with a smile. Alright. Night Sorrow nodded. Since Aoi insisted, he couldn't say anything else. After Yishan chatted with everyone for a while, he returned to his room to meditate and cultivate. 13 is right. Sixth senior sister, you really don't have to do things you don't like. Yang Lei said. I really don't. Don't you think 13 is tired after cultivating so hard? Aoi looked at the main building of the mansion and asked. He treats cultivation like a meal. Cultivation is his hobby. Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. In the secret cultivation room, Night Sorrow held the black tortoise spirit crystal in his hand. The space-time pagoda was also helping him cultivate. Currently, Night Sorrow's cultivation of the myriad Daos treasured tome was improving the fastest, followed by his soul power. His chi and bloodline power were slightly weaker. The main reason was that these two directions required too much energy. After cultivating for a night, Night Sorrow ate breakfast with everyone. Night Sorrow, come with us to the martial arts practice field to play. It's too lonely for you to cultivate alone. Sikong Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow and said. Sure. I'll cultivate with you guys today. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Then, they arrived at the martial arts practice field. Night Sorrow waved at Qin Zhen, Ma Zhuang, Tang Tian, and Chu Ning. I'm free today. I'll cultivate with you guys. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Yang Lei took a rattan and handed it to Night Sorrow. 13th Martial Uncle, we don't have to do this, right? Tang Tian said with a bitter face. Yes, we do. You guys have to educate us. Aoi said with a smile. Okay, the four of us will spar. Chu Ning's cultivation is the lowest. I'll use the same cultivation as Chu Ning. As for whether you get hit by the rattan or not, it's up to you guys. Night Sorrow shook the rattan and said. Chu Ning, Ma Zhuang, Tang Tian, and Qin Zhen were all at the same level. Night Sorrow was going to use his cultivation level to spar with them. The others were also interested in watching the battle. Captain, you can't use your cultivation level. If you do, it'll be boring. Ling Long said. I didn't plan to use it. Night Sorrow glanced at Ling Long. He knew that Ling Long wanted to see him suffer. Then, 13th brother, I won't hold back. Qin Zhen said. Little guy. It'll be strange if you don't hold back. 13th Martial Uncle, beat these guys up. Yang Lei looked at Qin Zhen and the others and said. Let's do it. Night Sorrow waved the rattan and said. Then, the spar began. At this time, Qin Zhen and the others knew what it meant to be miserable. Night Sorrow's rattan was infused with true chi. Sometimes it was vibration force, sometimes it was spiral force, and sometimes it was wave force. The few of them could not withstand it. Even with the protection of true chi, they could not cut the rattan. Even if he controlled his cultivation level, Night Sorrow's speed was extremely fast. The rattan was specifically aimed at the flaws in their attacks and defense. What was Night Sorrow's eyesight? What kind of battle technique was that? How could Qin Zhen and the others be compared to him? The rattan kept falling on their bodies. Night Sorrow did not show any mercy. The rattan tore their clothes and their bodies were covered in wounds. Okay, it's useless to act rashly. In a while, let's summarize the battle. Night Sorrow waved his arm and pushed the few of them back. Qin Zhen and the others lowered their heads and did not speak. They were defeated. Chapter 658. Geniuses remember love in 1 second? We will provide you with interesting novels to read. Thank you, Brother 13. Qingjin understands, Qingjin said as he bowed slightly. Thank you, Uncle 13. Ma Zhuang and the other two bowed as well. Heal your wounds first and think about what I said. The rest of you, form groups of 5 and fight with me, Night Sorrow said as he looked at the other members of the god-slaying team. Ho Jian and the others nodded. In fact, even if Night Sorrow did not say anything, they would have done the same. This was because they would have found their own weaknesses. Night Sorrow controlled his cultivation level so that it was the same as the person with the lowest cultivation level in each group. Then, he sparred with everyone. After a whole morning, the members of the god-slaying team, including Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu, all had bloodstains on their bodies. Those were the traces of the rattan. Everyone also saw what real combat skills and combat awareness were. Although they were at the same cultivation level, or even slightly lower, Night Sorrow's combat power was far superior to theirs. This was under the condition that Night Sorrow did not use his ultimate move. Night Sorrow was in the realm of one with the spear. The rattan was a part of Night Sorrow's body. Its attack power was extremely strong. Go back and rest well. Think about it carefully, Night Sorrow said as he looked at the group of people. That's it for today. Do you dare to continue tomorrow? Yin Huang, who had a few bloodstains on his back, was full of fighting spirit. Can you guys do it? Night Sorrow glanced at Yin Huang and then looked at the other members of the god-slaying team. Men can't not do it, Xueling shouted as he waved his long sword. Women can do it too. Ling Long, who had a few bloodstains on her back, shouted as well. Everyone can do it. Let's continue tomorrow. Night Sorrow threw away the rattan and turned to leave the training ground. I won't let 13th junior brother stop me tomorrow. I want to train like this too, Aoi said as she looked in the direction Night Sorrow left. Yang Lei shook her head. 6th senior sister, don't come over. 13, this beast is really ruthless. Look at this. After speaking, Yang Lei rolled up her sleeves, revealing 2 bloodstains. This guy's speed is simply too frightening. There's no way we can compare to him at all. Yin Huang looked at Yang Lei and the rest and said. Yin Huang, Ling Long, Yang Lei, and Sikong Chuyu were practicing with Night Sorrow today. Night Sorrow used the same cultivation as Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. Even so, they couldn't restrain Night Sorrow's speed and could only passively take a beating. Let's focus on defense first. My left arm and the left side of my body are the weak points in defense, Yang Lei said. Night Sorrow returned to his residence and began to meditate and cultivate. In fact, today's training was also beneficial to him. The weak points of others shouldn't appear in his body. At the training ground, Night Sorrow left. The others were applying medicine and bandaging their wounds. They were all thinking about their own weaknesses. After cultivating for a night, Night Sorrow practiced his spear techniques in the morning and ate breakfast with the girls. After eating, Aoi poured Night Sorrow a cup of tea and said, 13, don't stop me from training today. This is the path that 6th senior sister has chosen. Can you respect 6th senior sister a little? Night Sorrow looked seriously at Aoi and nodded. He knew that Aoi had chosen this path. When the group arrived at the training ground, the members of the god-slaying squad were already waiting in formation. Yi Linglan had also come to watch. He had watched for a while yesterday. Mushizhuang brought Night Sorrow a rattan. Are you all ready? Night Sorrow asked, holding the rattan. We're ready. The group of people roared. Not bad. Let's divide the teams according to their cultivation. There's no high or low. Otherwise, you know the consequences. Night Sorrow looked at the teams the god-slaying squad had divided. Don't look down on us. Do we have to do this? Yin Huang looked at Night Sorrow and said. I'm not worried about the others. I'm only worried about you. Alright, let's begin. Night Sorrow waved the rattan and pointed at one of the teams. As the rattan tore through the air, the members of the god-slaying squad cried out in pain. Although they wouldn't be seriously injured, the rattan still hurt. It was useless to put up a protective barrier. The barrier would be shattered by Night Sorrow's concussive force and penetrated by the spiraling force. There was no way they could take it head-on. Half a day passed, and the sparring session ended. The god-slaying squad members were all grimacing in pain because the rattan had hurt too much. Not bad. You all made some progress. Continue to study your weaknesses. We'll fight again in 2 days. Night Sorrow tossed the rattan aside, got up, and left the training ground. Too brutal. I've already paid attention to the defense on my back, but I still got hit, Yunhuang said as he touched the bloody marks on his back. Young Master's speed is too fast. Your attacks all missed. You can't break his speed, so you can only study your defenses. Actually, if you want to hit someone first, you have to learn how to take a beating. It's just like how young Madam's left arm is always being hit. The main problem is that the swing is too big. These are all unnecessary weaknesses, Yi Ling Lan, who was watching from the side, said. Being fast isn't invincible. When you meet a fast opponent, you have to be able to predict. That is, you have to estimate the opponent's attack trajectory and make a judgment in advance. Then, you have to dodge. Every movement of your footwork has to have the effect of one step. Wu Lingfei also appeared. She had been looking at the scenery outside the training ground, so she knew the situation here. Yun Huang and the others nodded. Everyone knew that this was the fastest way to improve one's strength. Night Sorrow went to the small boat by the lake. He took out a jar of wine and drank slowly. At the same time, he thought about the weaknesses of others and compared himself to others. After drinking, Night Sorrow continued to cultivate his spear arts, pursuing high speed and violent attacks. After cultivating for a while, Night Sorrow went to rest. Wu Lingfei came over. Seeing you cultivate reminds me of when I was young. Andi Fei is forever young. Night Sorrow smiled and got up to make tea. You really know how to talk. Andi Fei has some suggestions. You have to cultivate your footwork to be more smooth. For example, you have to walk in an arc. After changing directions, you won't lose momentum. This can increase the power of your attacks. You should know that strength is also your strength. Wu Lingfei sat down on the wooden boat and said. Night Sorrow thought for a while and nodded. He felt that this was a good direction for cultivation. It's really convenient to communicate with smart people. In fact, cultivating one's battle strength is nothing more than pursuing speed. Speed and strength are still in service of attacking. The two should always be combined without any gaps. Wu Lingfei said. I understand. Night Sorrow nodded and said. Andi Fei doesn't know about the nihility attribute, so I can't give you any good suggestions. However, you can slowly figure it out by yourself. Wu Lingfei was also helpless that Night Sorrow hadn't shown the power of the nihility attribute. Recently, I discovered that the nihility chi can be melted. In other words, when the chi is condensed to a point, it can melt everything around it into nothingness. Night Sorrow said his discovery. Chapter 659. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/small? I'll provide you with a wonderful novel to read. Night Sorrow stood up. After his true chi erupted, he compressed it and shot out a spear. As Night Sorrow shot out, a purple halo appeared at the tip of the spear. In the middle of the halo, an area similar to a spatial black hole appeared. Unlike a spatial black hole, there was nothing there. It was truly empty. Nothingness. This is true nothingness. It's just that the empty spot is a bit small. Wu Lingfei's eyes were filled with shock. Yes, but I think that as my cultivation increases, its power will increase. Night Sorrow said. Of course, when your cultivation increases, your true chi will become more condensed, and your chi shield will also have the ability to melt. Then, all kinds of attacks will not touch you. Wu Lingfei nodded. She now understood the terror of the nothingness attribute. Aunt Fei, there's still something I don't understand. Night Moon's family is mostly of the spatial attribute. My mother can't be of the nothingness attribute. How can I be of the nothingness attribute? Night Sorrow asked. How can you ask such an idiotic question? Talent is inherited, bloodline is also inherited, but attributes are not. Attributes are determined by a person's compatibility with the origin of heaven and earth. Wu Lingfei was helpless with Night Sorrow because Night Sorrow was an idiot in many aspects. I won't ask in the future. Night Sorrow was embarrassed because he really didn't know. It's fortunate that you asked. Otherwise, if your future child wasn't of the nothingness attribute, you would have some ideas. Wu Lingfei said with a smile. That won't happen. Night Sorrow also smiled because Wu Lingfei rarely joked. The two chatted casually, and Wu Lingfei also told Night Sorrow some common knowledge, and some cultivation experience. Night Sorrow also benefited a lot because he was lacking in these aspects. In the evening, the two returned to the mansion. We just changed the medicine. 13, you really did it. Yang Lei rubbed her arm. Aoi's face was also red because Night Sorrow had whipped her thigh twice. You guys were the ones who requested to spar. Besides, if you know where it hurts, you'll pay more attention to your defense in the future, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Then, they all had dinner together. After dinner, Night Sorrow stood up and said, if you're tired, rest early. You're going to cultivate so early today. Aren't you going to drink a pot of tea? Sikong Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. In the past, Night Sorrow would only leave after drinking a pot of tea. The night of the full moon is the day the Yi clan pays their respects to their ancestors. I'm going to burn some incense. Love go little say Night Sorrow took a deep breath and said. Then let's go too. It's only right for me to burn incense with you, Sikong Chuyu said. She was now Night Sorrow's fiancée, and also Night Moon's woman. You guys can go too. After the engagement ceremony, as Night Sorrow's fiancée, it's only right for you guys to go and pay your respects to Night Sorrow's ancestors, Wu Lingfei said. Yang Lei and Aoi nodded. It was mainly Aoi's side. Yang Lei had already paid her respects. Everyone changed into solemn robes and took the teleportation circle to Night Moon City. Under Night Sorrow's lead, the four of them arrived at Night Moon's inscription. Seeing Night Sorrow arrive, Yi Linglan, Yi Lingyuan, Yi Xiaoyuan, Yi Xiaoyun and Gu Jun all bowed. Nodding, Night Sorrow brought the girls to light incense and candles. Then, they bowed and said, Night Sorrow is here. I haven't gotten my revenge yet, but I'll work hard. Yi Clan's Yang Lei is here to burn incense for the ancestors. Yang Lei lit the incense and bowed. Yi Clan's Sikong Chuyu is here to burn incense for the ancestors. Sikong Chuyu bowed and inserted the incense into the cauldron. Aoi blushed and lit the incense too. Yi Clan's Aoi is here to burn incense for the ancestors. After the three girls finished, Yi Linglan and the others bowed to Yang Lei and the other two and called them young madam. At this moment, a few corpses were thrown in front of the cauldron. Then, Yi Lingxia appeared. Since Night Moon has been rebuilt, we'll just kill all the small fries that come. Do they really think the people of Night Moon have no guts? Yi Lingxia said coldly. These were the spies from the other factions that Yi Lingxia had killed. Translator, Atlas Studios Editor, Atlas Studios, Elder Linglan, bring more people to patrol in the future. If there are any suspicious people, take them down. Other places aside, Night Moon City, Wuyo City, and Wuemo City must not have any spies from other factions. Kill them all. If you can't kill them, send a signal and I'll kill them, Yi Lingxia said. This subordinate understands. Yi Linglan and the others bowed. Then, Yi Lingxia walked to Night Sorrow's side. In addition, this king will say that this is the young master of Night Moon and the current leader of Night Moon. Even this king is only an assistant. Anyone who disobeys will be killed. Yi Linglan and the others bowed again. Then, Yi Lingxie announced the identities of Yang Lei and the other two. To the Yi clan, the young madam also had to be respected. Night Sorrow didn't refute because he had already decided to shoulder the responsibility of Night Moon. After chatting with Yi Lingxie for a bit, Night Sorrow brought the three women back to Sky City. Although Night Moon is in a post-war state, it's not in a bad state. As long as there's a battle, its combat power won't be low, Yang Lei said. Because the faith is still there. Because Night Moon's glory is still there, Night Sorrow said with some emotion. Today, he really did feel the high fighting spirit of Night Moon's people. After chatting for a while, Aoi went back to rest. Night Sorrow sent Aoi back to her loft. 13. Don't tire yourself out. When it's time to rest, you should rest, Aoi said to Night Sorrow as she turned around. 6th Senior Sister, give me a hug. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Aoi nodded and opened her arms to hug Night Sorrow. 6th Senior Sister, to me, this hug is the last hug that belongs to a senior sister and junior brother, Night Sorrow said after hugging for a while. In front of Night Moon's monument, when Aoi mentioned the Night Clan's Aoi, Night Sorrow decided to change the way he interacted with Aoi. Because Aoi already had a position, he couldn't use the same way as before. After letting go of Night Sorrow, Aoi looked at Night Sorrow and said, in that case, I will also be your senior sister from now on. You still have to listen to me. Of course, senior sister, you know what I mean, Night Sorrow said. After glancing at Night Sorrow, Aoi quickly entered the loft. Her footsteps were a little hurried. She naturally knew that Night Sorrow had changed his attitude. He smiled at Aoi's back and returned to the main building. How was it? You didn't follow her in? Yang Lei smiled at Night Sorrow. How could I? I only said a few words to 6th Senior Sister. Night Sorrow looked at Yang Lei speechlessly. 6th Senior Sister is gentle. She needs some time. Sikong Chuyu looked at Yang Lei and shook his head. That's true. 13. Are you not going to cultivate tonight? Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and asked. If I wanted to cultivate, I would have left long ago. I'm resting tonight. Night Sorrow took off his outer robe and walked towards the bedroom. The two girls looked at each other and followed Night Sorrow into the bedroom. This was life, and to them, it was also cultivation. The three of them only rested after working for half the night. Chapter 660. Geniuses remember love in 1 second? We provide you with interesting novels to read. After practicing his spear techniques for a while and stretching his body, Night Sorrow ate breakfast with the rest of the team. After eating, Night Sorrow did not go to the martial arts practice field. Instead, he went to the lake to practice. As for the practice with the god-slaying team, it was fine to do it in the afternoon. The days passed peacefully and steadily. The members of the god-slaying squad had not only increased their cultivation bases, but their combat power had also increased rapidly. Night Sorrow did not train with them anymore, as the main purpose of training was to give them pointers. When Night Sorrow came to the martial arts practice field again, Yunhuang came back from outside. Leader, I've found the target again. When are we going to do it? Once we found the target, we'll go and kill him directly. How long do we have to wait? Gather. Night Sorrow gave the order immediately. Following Night Sorrow's order, the members of the god-slaying team quickly gathered together. Night Sorrow looked at Aoi because Aoi was also in the team. Don't look at me. I want to fight. Aoi noticed Night Sorrow's gaze and said her thoughts directly. Okay. 9th Senior Sister, pay attention. We'll set off now. Night Sorrow put away the ice silk pouch at his waist and waved his hand. Then, under Yunhuang's lead, the team arrived at a city in the Tianfeng dynasty. Night Sorrow, Yunhuang, and Ling Long, who took the lead, defeated the guards of the teleportation portal. Night Sorrow then arranged 2 groups of guards. I'll go to the city lord's mansion. The rest of you follow the old plan. Night Sorrow, this time it's a city lord who is a beginner honorable. How about letting me try? Yun Huang looked at Night Sorrow and asked. He also wanted to see if he had the ability to kill a honorable. Okay. Xueling, Ho Jian, take care of our brothers. I don't want to see any casualties. Yun Huang, let's go. Night Sorrow called out to Yun Huang. The god-slaying team was much stronger than before, but the structure of the team had not changed. The vice-captains were still Xueling and Ho Jian. Even Yun Huang and Ling Long, who had joined later, were much stronger than them in terms of cultivation. This was because of their leadership skills and ability to see the big picture. Ling Long's fighting strength was strong, but she had a rough personality and was not good at commanding and commanding. Yun Huang's mind was meticulous, but his mind was not in this aspect. Night Sorrow and Yun Huang rode their mounts towards the city lord's mansion. Night Sorrow and Night Sorrow flew while setting fire to the sky. Everywhere they passed, the sky was filled with flames. In the time it took to brew a cup of tea, Night Sorrow and Night Sorrow arrived at the city lord's residence. Just as the 2 of them arrived at the city lord's mansion, a middle-aged woman flew out from within. A group of small fries really came. This is my good luck. The woman's chi rose rapidly. After that, Night Sorrow could no longer see through her cultivation base. This woman hid her cultivation base and tricked us. She's a 5th level venerable. Yun Huang's expression changed. He saw the woman's cultivation base. Her cultivation base rose from a 1st level venerable to a 5th level venerable in an instant. Don't worry. Go set fire to the mansion and kill as many as you can. Then, retreat. You don't have to care about me. Night Sorrow straightened his back and held the reincarnation spear in his hand. After glaring at the woman, Yun Huang dashed towards the city lord's mansion with his hell wolf. At this moment, he discovered that there were no more high-level cultivators in the mansion. Yun Huang's cultivation base was already at the peak void inquiry stage. Moreover, his lightning attribute was extremely violent. With the help of the ghost wolf, no one could stop him. The late void inquiry stage guards in front of the city lord's mansion were killed by him in just a few moves. The woman in black robes waved her hand and sent a ray of sword chi towards Yun Huang. She was enraged when she saw Yun Huang kill her guards. However, Night Sorrow's body flashed and arrived in front of the sword chi's path. He fired a few spear strikes continuously and neutralized the sword chi. Love go little say net, chew, damn it. So what if my guards were killed? It's already a great merit for me to kill you. When you report to the netherworld, remember that the person who killed you is Chen Haofei. The woman in black robes gritted her teeth and said. Are all the people of the Tianfeng dynasty good at talking? At that time, Chen Haoran also said the same thing. However, he was the one who died. Night Sorrow snorted coldly. Damn it. Hearing Night Sorrow mention Chen Haoran's name, Chen Haofei was enraged because he was her elder cousin. The furious Chen Haofei waved the long sword in her hand and sent out rays of sword chi towards Night Sorrow. She gritted her teeth and looked like she wanted to cut Night Sorrow into minced meat. Night Sorrow raised a spatial energy shield around his body and continuously dodged. Chen Haofei's sword energies all missed. This was the advantage brought about by speed. Just now, he took Chen Haofei's sword chi head-on because Night Sorrow was worried that Yun Huang would be injured. Now that he was thinking about defending and protecting himself, there was no need for him to do something that was strenuous and unrewarding. Seeing that Night Sorrow's speed was fast, Chen Haofei increased the binding power of the Venerable Realm in order to control Night Sorrow's speed. Under such circumstances, Night Sorrow's speed was reduced. However, the mutated energy shield could still cut through Chen Haofei's binding power in an instant. This was the power of the spatial attribute. It could crush other ordinary attributes. Chen Haofei's water attribute couldn't suppress Night Sorrow. And, let's see how long you can jump. Unable to take down Night Sorrow, Chen Haofei cursed bitterly and sped up to chase after Night Sorrow. First move, Night Sorrow didn't move in a straight line. His energy shield cut left and right, constantly dodging and not giving Chen Haofei a chance to crush him head-on. Yun Huang knew that Night Sorrow was under a lot of pressure, so he went all out to kill. He directly rushed to the warehouse of the city lord's mansion and emptied the few resources there. The Tianfeng dynasty was smart. They didn't put too many resources in their subordinate cities. Most of them were transferred to the capital, Tianfeng City. After getting fewer resources, Yun Huang's anger grew. He set fire to the warehouse while chasing after the guards of the city lord's mansion. He killed all of them who were rank 3 and above. Remember this. If you have the ability, hide the resources. If I can't get the resources, I'll kill them. As long as I kill all those above rank 3, I'll prepare enough resources for you if you don't want to die. Yun Huang, who felt that he was at a disadvantage because he couldn't get the resources, shouted as he chased after the guards of the city lord's mansion. Retreat! Night Sorrow shouted when he saw that the angry Chen Haofei had the intention to attack Yun Huang. He then took the initiative to attack. He was worried that Chen Haofei would kill Yun Huang. Night Sorrow attacked crazily with his spear. Chen Haofei didn't attack Yun Huang. Instead, he started to attack Night Sorrow. With the advantage of speed, Night Sorrow wasn't in any danger of being injured. Damn it. You dare not leave us any resources? From today onwards, we won't only attack the city lord's mansion of the big cities. We'll also attack the small cities and towns. As long as they're rank 3 and above cultivators in the Tianfeng dynasty, I'll kill them all. Yun Huang, who had left the city lord's mansion, shouted at Chen Haofei. Damn it. When I catch you, I'll tear you to pieces. Chen Haofei cursed angrily when she heard Yun Huang's threat. However, under the constant harassment of Night Sorrow, she didn't have the energy to chase after Yun Huang. Chen Haofei was worried that if she chased after Yun Huang, Night Sorrow would run away. In her eyes, Night Sorrow was the most valuable. Yun Huang was just a small fry and wasn't that important. Chapter 661. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with interesting novels to read. Night Sorrow, who had made up his mind, ran in the opposite direction of the teleportation portal. He threw torches as he ran. No matter how the battle went, he had to achieve his goal of destroying the city first. Love go little say W. Chu Yishan's straight-line speed was not as fast as Chen Haofei's. After all, Chen Haofei's 5th level venerate cultivation was real. However, Yishan's protective shield was in the same state as the polar moon wheel. It could cut in all directions and change directions at will. Chen Haofei could not block him and kill him. While running, Night Sorrow also attacked some of the guards in the city. Every time the sky-piercing spear was launched, it would kill them. Yun Huang returned to the teleportation portal and told them about the situation. He also told them about his suggestion, which was to destroy a small city. Is the captain in any danger? Xue Ling looked at Yun Huang and asked. This was what everyone wanted to know. If Night Sorrow was not in danger, they could focus on other things. I think so. Because the captain is fast, that guy's attacks almost all missed. If the captain wants to leave, she can't stop him, Yun Huang said. Then let's teleport once first and then go to other small cities. Not leaving any resources. That's too despicable. Let's be despicable too, Ho Jian said. Then, Ho Jian decided that Qin Jin would stay to destroy the teleportation portal. The others would go elsewhere to fight. Yi Shang walked Chen Haofei like he was walking a dog. When he wasn't attacked by Chen Haofei, Yi Shang would occasionally set fire and kill the guards of the city lord's mansion. He wanted to bring harm to the Tianfeng dynasty. Night Sorrow's actions angered Chen Haofei. She chased after Night Sorrow and kept releasing sword energy. After an hour, the city was on fire. Most of the high-level buildings had been set on fire by Night Sorrow. The streets were full of guards' corpses. They were all killed by Night Sorrow's sky-piercing spear. Shameless thief, if I catch you in a while, I'll definitely make you beg for death. Chen Haofei was now extremely angry. Night Sorrow was as slippery as a loach. Not to mention, under her eyes, he continued to set fire and kill people. This was a slap in the face. Let's wait until you catch me. Night Sorrow did not care about Chen Haofei's threat at all. If threats could kill people, then there was no need for them to cultivate. When he felt that it was about time, Night Sorrow decided to run. He had already achieved his goal of destroying the city, and he couldn't kill a level 5 supremacy. Furthermore, he had used up a lot of his energy during this skirmish. Baidu search AI Go female sign Xiao say www.aichuxs. The fighting power of a beginner supremacy and an intermediate supremacy were completely different. Previously, Night Sorrow was able to defeat Jin Sun because of luck. Currently, Chen Haofei was using her sword Qi to cut him, making it difficult for the Spacetime Pagoda to hit him. Night Sorrow, who was planning to run, communicated with Shao Kong. When they reached the corner of a burning building, Night Sorrow's body moved horizontally, leaving Chen Haofei's line of sight. He then entered the Spacetime Pagoda and smashed it into the ground. The Sikong Pagoda's body shrunk to the size of a thumb. When it smashed into the ground, it was immediately covered by dust. You rascal, what you're doing is a little risky, Shao Kong muttered. Baidu search AI Go female sign Shao say www.aichuxs. Calm, it's fine. Even if she finds out, I'm not afraid. My speed is not inferior. At most, I'll just run again. Night Sorrow did not care. With his speed, it was impossible for Chen Haofei to kill him. Chen Haofei chased after the corner of the building and was stunned. Because the target was gone. Night Sorrow had disappeared. Little bastard, get out here for me. When I catch you, I'll chop you into pieces, castrate you, and cook your body parts with wine. Chen Haofei scolded angrily. Hearing Chen Haofei's scolding, Night Sorrow felt a chill in his pants. This Chen Haofei was too ruthless. Night Sorrow believed that if he was caught, this Chen Haofei might do as he said. A crazy woman is very scary. Shao Kong, who was standing beside Night Sorrow, muttered. Night Sorrow glanced at Shao Kong. Shao Kong was still young now, but she would also be a woman in the future. After pondering for a moment, Night Sorrow sat down to recover. Although he hadn't fought head-on during this period of time, Night Sorrow had still consumed a lot of energy. Now that he had the chance, he naturally had to recover. The situation outside was being monitored by Little Kong, so it was safe. Night Sorrow had calmed down, but Chen Haofei could not. Night Sorrow had disappeared in front of her eyes. If Night Sorrow had escaped, then the city would have been burned for nothing. The guards in the city would also have been killed for nothing. She would also be punished when she returned to the Tianfeng dynasty. At the same time, Chen Haofei also knew that Night Sorrow had not left. Instead, he was hiding because she had been using the spatial bind. Other than the area where Night Sorrow's protective energy shield was broken, there were not many spatial fluctuations in the other areas. Then, Chen Haofei searched back and forth in the area where Night Sorrow had disappeared. She even stepped on the ground where the Spacetime Pagoda was hiding. This made Shao Kong very angry, but seeing that Night Sorrow was still recovering, she endured it. Chen Haofei searched back and forth for Night Sorrow, but to no avail. This made Chen Haofei very angry. She could not leave because she was very sure that Night Sorrow had not left. She also did not dare to remove the spatial bind of the Venerable Realm. She was afraid that Night Sorrow would really run away if she was not careful. She could only endure the consumption and keep searching. Yin Huang and the others teleported away. After changing cities, they flew for a while and directly attacked small cities and towns. They stole resources and burned the city lord's mansion. They did not leave the small city lord and the town mayor behind. Every time they destroyed the city lord's mansion of a small city, Yun Huang would leave behind a message. Don't hide the resources that belong to us. If you hide them again, it won't just be burning the city lord's mansion and the town mayor's mansion. Feeling that it was about time, the god-slaying team retreated and found the nearest city with a teleportation array. They returned to Tai Ching City and then to the city in the sky. When they returned to the city in the sky and did not see Night Sorrow, Aoi was a little worried. Ninth junior sister, Chiyu, will 13 be fine? He won't be back so soon. After he ran away, he first had to find a city with a teleportation array. This will take a long time. It will take a few days. Yang Lei poured a cup of water for Aoi and said. Sixth senior sister, are you used to it? Sikong Chiyu looked at Aoi and asked. Aoi did not kill anyone in this battle, but she severely injured a few people. Then, the others took care of them. It's okay. I'll slowly get used to it. Also, I stood there and did not move at first. They took the initiative to kill me. Aoi said. This is a dog-eat-dog world. If you don't kill, they will kill you. Yang Lei lamented. Chen Haofei only needed 1 hour to recover. He used his soul power to probe the area outside the spacetime pagoda, searching for an opportunity to escape. However, Chen Haofei continued to patrol the area outside. He had no intention of leaving. This crazy woman. She's going to waste her time. Night Sorrow took out a wine jar and took a sip. Because she can be sure that you did not leave. After all, during the battle, her soul power covered this area, Shao Kong said. Night Sorrow planned to take action. If this continued, he would be too passive. He might as well continue to fight and look for an opportunity. Just as Night Sorrow was about to take action, Chen Haofei walked towards Night Sorrow. Then, she took out a praying mat and sat cross-legged on top of the spacetime pagoda. Look at the chapters in the e-version. Chapter 662. A genius remembers love in 1 second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Haha. Originally, he had wanted to fight as a kite. But this guy is courting death, so he can't blame anyone. Night Sorrow took out the reincarnation spear from his back and took a deep breath. With a shake of his arm, he executed the 7-star glorious moon spear and charged out of the spacetime treasure pagoda. Night Sorrow appeared right under the praying mat that Chen Haofei was sitting on. The reincarnation spear pierced through the praying mat and directly pierced between Chen Haofei's legs. It then pierced through his dantian and shattered his heart. Soon after, Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear shook and sent Chen Haofei flying. After being sent flying by Night Sorrow, Chen Haofei barely managed to stabilize himself after landing on the ground. However, blood continued to flow down his thighs. Despicable. You stabbed me. Chen Haofei's face was pale. His life was not far away. Wouldn't it have been better if you had left earlier? Why did you have to catch and kill me? I didn't want to kill you either. You're just unlucky to be sitting in this damned place, Night Sorrow said coldly. Night Sorrow didn't want to kill Chen Haofei either, but he had no choice. Chen Haofei's seat was unlucky, and it was Night Sorrow's only chance. I'm not married yet. After saying this, Chen Haofei fell down. Night Sorrow shook his head and took Chen Haofei's storage ring and longsword. Then, he rode Tianyu away from the battlefield. Love go little say ku, Night Sorrow, your instant kill is really powerful. However, the position of the shot is a little inappropriate. Shao Kong's voice rang out in Night Sorrow's mind. You think I'm willing? She's sitting there, and I have no other place to shoot. I can only shoot with my eyes closed, Night Sorrow said with some hesitation. But it's very powerful, killing with one spear. Shao Kong's voice carried a hint of a smile. Night Sorrow didn't say anything. He took the map and flew to the nearest city with a teleportation circle. While flying, Night Sorrow opened Chen Haofei's storage ring. After taking a look, Night Sorrow discovered that there were no ordinary resources inside, which meant that there were no resources from the City Lord's mansion. Generally, the City Lord's mansion's resources were mostly ordinary resources below the 5th rank. Chen Haofei's storage ring was filled with high-quality resources, which were her personal collection. They were all high-grade crystal stones, and there were also 2 pieces of wind-attributed crystal stones. It took Night Sorrow 4 days to return to Sky City. When Night Sorrow arrived at the training ground, the members of the God-slaying team, who were in the midst of training, rapped on their breastplates to welcome his return. Love go little say ku, I've thought about it. Massacring small cities and towns isn't a good idea. We're targeting the upper echelons of the various dynasties. There's no need to let others suffer the consequences of war, Night Sorrow said to the group. All right, I've thought about it as well. It's indeed a little inappropriate. Yun Huang nodded. All right then. Everyone, continue your training. Night Sorrow went to one side and sat down, taking out a teapot to make tea. Leader, how did you escape? A 5th grade venerable is not easy to deal with. Yun Huang did not stand on ceremony. He just sat down and waited to drink some tea. Yang Lei and the other ladies also came over. They were also very interested in this matter. It was simply inconceivable for a void inquiry stage cultivator to escape from the pursuit of a 5th-level venerated realm expert. I just ran out like that. Night Sorrow lowered his head and sipped his tea. What do you mean by, just ran out like that? You didn't do anything? Ling Long looked at Night Sorrow with dissatisfaction. She wanted to hear what happened and use it as a reference. She also wanted to experience that soul-stirring experience. She's dead. However, my methods aren't very glorious. Everyone, don't ask any more. Night Sorrow sighed and said. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, everyone was stunned. A 5th grade venerable is dead. She was killed by Night Sorrow. As for what Night Sorrow said after that, everyone chose to ignore it automatically. Glorious. What was glorious? Who wouldn't go all out to kill their opponent in a battle? Being able to kill their opponent was already a skill. Besides, how much was the difference in cultivation base between Night Sorrow and his opponent? As a matter of fact, if they were to face each other head-on, Night Sorrow would have no chance at all. However, Chen Haofei was unlucky enough to be sitting on top of the Time Pagoda. At this moment, Wu Lingfei walked over. When he saw her, Night Sorrow stood up and greeted her. Do you want to sit by the big lake for a while? Looking at Night Sorrow, Wu Lingfei asked. She had something to say to Night Sorrow. After that, Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei left the training ground. Leader's mood doesn't seem right. Xue Ling said while looking at the backs of Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei. 13 has his own insistence. Perhaps he feels that he isn't a worthy opponent and feels that it's not glorious. He feels that something is lacking. Yang Lei said. That's probably why Auntie Fei wants to talk to Night Sorrow. Sikong Chuyu said. When they reached the wooden boat, Wu Lingfei personally brewed tea and poured a cup for Night Sorrow. Auntie Fei heard what you said. You can't tell others, but tell Auntie Fei. Night Sorrow nodded and told her about the battle with Chen Haofei. You feel that it's not glorious? There are many factors that determine the outcome of a battle. As long as you can win, everything else doesn't matter. As for the move you used to kill Chen Haofei, that was because she was careless. She wasn't alert enough. Who can you blame for that? Did you think that if you turned your back on the enemy wouldn't attack you? Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow and frowned. But the position of the spear was too bad. Night Sorrow said with a bitter smile. Hee hee. She was just unlucky. It's nothing. She is a level 5 venerable. She doesn't care about her face to deal with you. What other moves can't you use? You're not allowed to have any more disgraceful thoughts. Auntie Fei thinks that you're a good person. Wu Lingfei gave Night Sorrow a white thumb. Translator, Atlas Studios editor, Atlas Studios, Auntie Faye, let's drink? Hearing Auntie Faye's words, my heart is a lot clearer. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Sure. Auntie Faye will drink with you to our heart's content today. Wu Lingfei said with a smile. Auntie Faye, Night Sorrow is very grateful. Every time I am confused, you always give me ideas. If I didn't meet Auntie Faye, I don't know what I would be like right now. Night Sorrow took out a jar of wine and poured 2 bowls for himself and Wu Lingfei, then stood up and said. You don't have to be so polite with Auntie Faye. Auntie Faye doesn't like it because you help Auntie Faye more. Wu Lingfei waved her hand and let Night Sorrow sit down. Then the two chatted casually. Night Sorrow also asked Wu Lingfei for her opinion on the current situation. Wu Lingfei felt that the other dynasties were in a very bad situation. They didn't want to see Night Moon rise. However, without a saint, it was inconvenient for them to fight. They could only accept the current situation. This was because if anyone attacked Night Moon, Yun Tianlong would attack. He was a true unrivaled venerable. No one could ignore him. Moreover, if there was a war, Yi Lingxie would also attack. Yi Lingxie couldn't stop the enemy's attack, but he could stop the enemy's killing. With all these factors combined, the overall situation should be stable. Back then, Tianfeng dynasty instigated the other dynasties to attack because Saint Xin Yuan promised to help. Chapter 663. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? We will provide you with interesting novels to read. After chatting for a while, Wu Lingfei saw that Night Sorrow had returned to normal. Wu Lingfei gave Night Sorrow a thumbs up and left. Night Sorrow thought for a while and felt that it was nothing. Xin Haofei was a level 5 supremacy and had no bottom line when attacking him. He would not go overboard no matter how he fought. As long as he could kill his opponent, it would be a good move. 86. Head. Hair. Night Sorrow continued to train his speed and the combination of speed and spear skills. This time, Night Sorrow felt the benefits of speed. The last time Yi Shang had fought Jin Sun, he had been in an extremely difficult situation. It could even be said that he had struggled on the verge of death. But this time, it was different. Yi Shang was fighting with ease. He could protect himself. With the origin spiritual liquid, Yi Shang did not need to worry about consumption. He could even escape while fighting. Of course, Night Sorrow was able to kill Chen Haofei by accident. Night Sorrow cultivated until the sky turned dark. Then, he packed up and returned to his mansion. We have been waiting for you for a while. If you didn't come, we would have gone to look for you. Yang Lei said. You don't have to wait for me in the future. I am not punctual. Night Sorrow sat down and said. You have a family. You have to think about your family. Also, if we go out and kill like this, it will be easy for us to be tricked. Sikong Chuyu said. But they can't just set traps everywhere. The Tianfeng dynasty is not easy to fight. Let's take turns with the Earth dynasty, Golden Dragon King dynasty, 7-Star dynasty, Red Leaf dynasty, and Green Nether dynasty. They won't be able to rest. Night Sorrow said. We still have to investigate carefully. If the trap is too big, it is easy to fall in and not come out. Aoi reminded Night Sorrow. That's right. They've been dealt a heavy blow. Even high-level venerables might have gone to bury them. If we run into them, we'll be done for. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that they really couldn't afford to make any mistakes. If they really encountered a high-level venerable, the consequences would be total annihilation. After having dinner with the 3 girls and chatting for a while, Night Sorrow went to cultivate. This guy finally listened to my advice for once, but he's still as hardworking as ever. Looking at Night Sorrow's secret training room, Yang Lei sighed. Let's talk to him another day. Aoi said after thinking for a while. After cultivating for an entire night, Night Sorrow arrived at the training grounds and found a vine. It's been a while since the last time I gave you pointers. Let's see if you've made any progress. Upon hearing Night Sorrow's words, the god-slaying squad began to spar with Night Sorrow. In the end, they were still beaten up. Everyone had worked very hard in their training, and their weaknesses were already very few. However, Night Sorrow had the ability to find loopholes in their defenses. Ling Long and Yun Huang were no exception. They were also hit by the vines. Leader, I still can't hold on. What's going on? Yun Huang said with a depressed tone. He brought Ling Long, Sikong Chuyu, and Yang Lei to fight against Night Sorrow, who was at the 6th Void Inquiry stage. However, he still got hit by the vines. Your changes are very obvious. However, every time you change the direction of attack and defense, your body becomes a little stiff. It's not smooth and perfect enough. There are loopholes in between. These loopholes are fatal. Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. After that, Night Sorrow helped Aoi, Yang Lei, and Sikong Chuyu apply ointment on their wounds. 13. It's really painful. Aoi rubbed her leg and said. 6th senior sister, if you can't handle it, you shouldn't participate in this kind of training. Night Sorrow said with heartache. No. I still want to cultivate. Aoi shook her head. Chuyu, are you alright? Night Sorrow then looked at Sikong Chuyu. I'm fine. My body is special. Being hit by the vines is a little painful, but it's not really a serious injury. Sikong Chuyu shook his head. 9th senior sister, your arm shouldn't be a big problem as well. Night Sorrow said. It's painful. You really hit me. Yang Lei gave Night Sorrow a glance and said. I'll pay attention next time. Actually, I just want you to know your weaknesses. Night Sorrow really felt heartache when he looked at the 3 ladies. After that, Night Sorrow brought the 3 ladies to the big lake to rest and relax. He asked Tianyu to catch a few big fishes and roast them. Why hasn't this silver fox broken through yet? Yang Lei asked when she saw Night Sorrow feeding the silver fox. The higher one's innate talent is, the harder it will be for them to break through. I guess they are doing some accumulation. Night Sorrow said. After eating the roasted fish, the 3 ladies made tea for them. Night Sorrow continued to study his speed. He cultivated his speed until it was incomparably smooth. After cultivating for a while, when Night Sorrow was drinking tea, the 3 ladies also asked Night Sorrow how to improve his speed. It was because Night Sorrow's speed was too fast. When he flew back and forth, it was like an afterimage. Night Sorrow did not hide anything from the 3 ladies. He hoped that they could improve their strength. Hence, he told them about his understanding and comprehension of speed. After that, the 3 ladies began to cultivate their movement techniques. Night Sorrow did not stop cultivating as well. He was constantly strengthening his combat techniques. Currently, Night Sorrow's true chi was in the settling cultivation stage. His true chi cultivation was not far from the peak of the void inquiry stage. He just needed to cultivate naturally. Only then would his cultivation base be solid and there would not be any problems when he breaks through. As for his soul power and innate bloodline power, Night Sorrow cultivated them with the help of the time and space pagoda. The cultivation base of the myriad Tao treasure tome was improved when he went into seclusion at night. After having dinner, Night Sorrow sent Aoi off and returned to the main building. He did not cultivate because it had been a while since he accompanied Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. To Night Sorrow, being with the 2 ladies was like living. To the 2 ladies, it was cultivation. The 3 of them only stopped fighting after midnight. The 2 ladies were covered in sweat. I've imparted the harmony cultivation technique to 6th senior sister. However, I don't know how long it will take for her to master it. It's beneficial to her cultivation base, especially her body. While chatting with Night Sorrow, Yang Lei put on her gauze robe and sat in meditation to refine the yang qi that Night Sorrow left behind. It was the same for Sikong Chuyu. Night Sorrow also took the black turtle spirit crystal and began to cultivate. While improving his soul power and innate bloodline power, he was also trying to break through to the 8th level of the Myriad Dao Treasure Tome. Because of the abundant resources and a good foundation, Knight Sorrow's cultivation base of the Myriad Dao Treasure Tome improved rapidly. When they woke up in the morning for breakfast, Yiling Xia came and told Knight Sorrow about the situation in the Sea of Night Moon. After receiving Knight Sorrow's resources, mainly the life spirit fluid, the experts of the Yi clan had all entered seclusion. As time passed, the cultivation base of the Yi clan members would increase greatly. However, when the Yi clan members could return depended on when Yi Linghuan became a saint. In addition, Knight Sorrow's father, Prince Wuyo, was also trying to comprehend the laws. My father is so powerful? Knight Sorrow looked at Yiling Xia in surprise. Chapter 664. A genius remembers love in 1 second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Very good. As long as my parents are doing well, I'm not worried about that. Baidu search love go xiao shua www.aichuxs.com, Knight Sorrow said. In addition, your younger sister, Yi Nianxiao, is also a very good seedling. She's 11 this year and has already reached the peak stage of element gathering realm. If you hadn't appeared, she would have been Night Moon's future successor. Yiling Xia also explained the situation of Knight Sorrow's younger sister. This has nothing to do with whether I appear or not. She is still the heir. Knight Sorrow said with a smile. He would not fight with his sister for anything. Your attitude is very good. This is also the best tradition of our Night Moon dynasty. In the past years, our Night Moon dynasty has never had any power struggles. Unity has always been the core theme. However, you are the young master. This is something that no one can and will not change. Moreover, your talent has surpassed all the ancestors of the Night Moon dynasty. This is something that all the core members of the Night Moon dynasty pay attention to. Yi Ling smiled wickedly as he spoke. He admired Yi Shan more and more. Yi Ling looked at Yi Shan with an evil smile. Knight Sorrow nodded. Actually, he didn't really care about these things. He just did what he had to do. There's one more thing. When you have time, you can go to Bayou City to take a look. That's where my mother's clan is. They're also your family, said Yiling Xia. Knight Sorrow lowered his head and pondered for a moment before shaking his head. He didn't intend to go. He had already been targeted by a few great dynasties. If he went to Bayou City, it would be equivalent to bringing trouble to them. Knight Sorrow didn't want to do such a thing. Love go little say ku, it's up to you. Bayou City isn't big, but it's completely under the control of the Yu clan. Back then, something happened to Night Moon too suddenly. They didn't have time to provide support, but we are definitely Night Moon's allies, said Yiling Xia. He didn't want Knight Sorrow to have an opinion of Bayou City. I'll leave it to you, sixth uncle. As for the rest, we'll talk about it when my parents come back, Knight Sorrow said. Yiling Xia nodded. He had thought about some things and guessed that Knight Sorrow wouldn't go. After all, Knight Sorrow wasn't the kind of person to drag others down with him. After chatting with Knight Sorrow for a while, Yiling Xia left. He told Knight Sorrow that he would be overseeing Night Moon City. If Knight Sorrow had something to do, he could go over. In the following days, Knight Sorrow cultivated peacefully. In addition, he had also received some news that the other dynasties were restless and were slowly advancing towards the Night Moon dynasty. Conflicts were often occurring. However, these were all battles between supremacies and below, so they were considered small conflicts. Such a situation made Knight Sorrow realize that it had been a while since he'd attacked the dynasties. They were being restless again. Without telling the god-slaying team and the girls, Knight Sorrow left and rushed towards the territory of the Red Leaves dynasty, which was the most active. The Red Leaves dynasty was the most active. Knight Sorrow was going to start a massacre in the heart of the Red Leaves dynasty. Knight Sorrow wasn't afraid if there was a trap. If there was a trap, he'd just run. If there wasn't a trap, he'd start a massacre. Night Sorrow also entered the city to investigate first. He only attacked when he didn't find any experts that he couldn't handle. In fact, with so many cities in a dynasty, how many supremacies could defend them? Beginner supremacies were easy prey. Night Sorrow destroyed 2 city lord mansions on his own without receiving any news from the city in the sky. Read the original chapter, Lurgon C. Night Sorrow's strategy was different for solo battles and team battles. Every time he finished investigating and felt that it was time to attack, Night Sorrow would first destroy the teleportation formation. Then, he would ride his mount to the city lord mansion to kill the city lord. After killing the city lord, robbing the resources of the city lord mansion, and leaving behind a note, Night Sorrow would ride on Tianyu and fly around the city. He would set fire to the buildings that belonged to the city lord mansion and turn the city into a mess. Night Sorrow would only leave. Night Sorrow was a small target. This made it difficult for the opponent to defend. After half a month, Night Sorrow had destroyed 4 cities in the Red Leaves dynasty. This was because Night Sorrow spent most of his time traveling. However, the city in the sky also received the news at this time. This made Yun Huang, Ling Long, Ho Jian, and Xue Ling very anxious and angry. You can't be angry. Night Sorrow is worried that the opponent will dig a big hole and use high-level supremacies to ambush us. If that happens, our god-slaying team will be wiped out. Yang Lei told them the result of their previous analysis. Sigh. Captain is still worried about us because we're not strong enough. Yun Huang sighed. Actually, Captain's worry is reasonable. Even if we succeed every time we go out and kill them 10 times, what about the 11th time? As long as we encounter a deep hole, our god-slaying team will be wiped out, Ling Long said. The others didn't say anything because this was the truth. Shaking his head helplessly, Yun Huang went to cultivate. Not being able to help Night Sorrow made him feel very helpless. The massacre of several cities shook the Red Leaves dynasty. As long as one wasn't an idiot, one would know why. It was because the Red Leaves dynasty's troops had attacked the Night Moon dynasty. Although the Red Leaves dynasty was unwilling, they still withdrew their troops from the border. If they didn't return, they wouldn't have enough people and couldn't defend the cities. The Red Leaves dynasty became obedient. Night Sorrow changed his target to the 7 Stars dynasty and continued to kill the cities of the 7 Stars dynasty. In the underground hall of Tianji Tower, a group of higher-ups was chatting. Lin Yuandao also showed the secret letter in his hand to everyone. This guy is a little crazy. He's giving the 5 dynasties a headache, Hua Haining said. You can't say that he's crazy. He's smart and brave. He changed the situation by himself and put the 5 dynasties in a passive position. He's a genius, Xia Lanjun said. I'm worried about his safety. It's too dangerous if this goes on, Hua Haining said. For the sake of Night Moon's safety, he used the method of killing to stop killing. At present, this is also the most effective method. This guy hides his strength deeply and kills ruthlessly. Anyone who has an enemy like him will feel dizzy. With his reputation, if it isn't necessary, no one will be willing to provoke such a person, Xia Lanjun said. Hua Haining nodded. No matter what kind of force it is, they would be afraid of a crazy opponent like Night Sorrow. They would never have a day of peace. This guy is really something. You guys have read the information. That Jin Sun was a 6th level venerable. One of his hands was crippled by him. Chen Haofei, who was a 5th level venerable, was also killed by him. This is really something. In the past, there has never been such a ruthless void inquiry stage cultivator. Lin Yuandao looked at Xia Lanjun and said. Yes. If nothing goes wrong, he will definitely grow to the unrivaled venerable realm. Xia Lanjun said. She didn't know much about Night Sorrow in the past. Now, she also understood a lot about him. As long as he can endure until the members of the Night Clan return, his own safety will no longer be a problem. Besides, the overall situation will also change. Lin Yuandao said. He really hoped that Night Sorrow could hold on. On Night Sorrow's side, he didn't care about what other people were talking about. He just started killing in the 7-Star Dynasty. In the main hall of the 7-Star Dynasty, a group of people was having a discussion. "Grandpa, I want to fight. This guy is too arrogant. He really thinks that he's a big shot. He thinks that he can change the situation by himself. I must kill him." A woman stood up and said. Chapter 665. Genius 1 second. Remember love go divided by Shao. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow, dressed in a white battle robe, wandered around the various cities of the 7-Star Dynasty. In the eyes of those who didn't know him, he looked like a young master who was sightseeing. No one would have thought that he was actually a killing god. Baidu search love go divided by Shao Shao Shua www.aichux. Night Sorrow wasn't in a hurry. He just took it as a trip. If there was a suitable city, he would make a move. If there wasn't, he would endure and wander to the next city. Once again, he came to a city called Meteor City. Night Sorrow found a tea house near the city lord's mansion. He ordered a pot of tea and observed the city lord's mansion. After drinking a pot of tea, Night Sorrow was startled because an acquaintance had come. It was Star Tiger, the one who didn't win the previous battle. "Damn! It's you bastard!" Seeing Night Sorrow, Star Tiger was startled for a moment. Then, he sat opposite Night Sorrow. Baidu search love go divided by Shao Shua www.aichux. "Calm, hee. I didn't expect to see you here." Night Sorrow raised his teacup at Star Tiger. "This lord doesn't want to see you. Nothing good happens when I see you. Last time, I was tricked by you. You want to trick me again this time?" Star Tiger was a little depressed. Last time, when something happened, his family didn't say anything. However, he took the initiative to ask for a demotion and became the city lord here. Night Sorrow's appearance made Star Tiger feel very conflicted. He couldn't do anything to Night Sorrow. The news of Night Sorrow killing Chen Haofei had already spread. Meeting once is a coincidence. Meeting twice is fate. This time, I'll leave. Looking at Star Tiger, Night Sorrow stood up and left the tea house. He didn't want to make things difficult for a real man. "Love go Shao Shua Wuku, if you don't make things difficult for me, then no matter what the 7-Star Dynasty decides, I won't appear on the battlefield against the Night Moon Dynasty," Star Tiger shouted as he looked at Night Sorrow's back. Night Sorrow waved his hand and left the vicinity of the city lord's mansion. He took the teleportation array and left. Night Sorrow hated 7-Star Dynasty, but he had a good impression of Star Tiger. He didn't want to go against his own wishes. Follow your heart. Night Sorrow did as he pleased. "The city lord is here. Who are you greeting?" A man also entered the tea house. Vice City Lord also came to drink tea. "I just sent away a jinx. I didn't expect him to give me face. Otherwise, our city lord's mansion would be in ruins." Star Tiger said with some emotion. "That fella just now was Night Sorrow?" The Vice City Lord looked at Star Tiger in astonishment and asked. "Yes, he is much stronger than before. If he wants to fight, then I can only watch him burn, kill, and plunder. I'm not his match." Star Tiger said. The Vice City Lord didn't say anything. He knew that he had avoided a disaster. After Night Sorrow changed cities, he continued to find an inn near the City Lord's mansion to rest or go to a tea house to drink tea and investigate the City Lord's mansion. In the next 6 days, Night Sorrow destroyed 2 more cities and killed 2 level 3 supremacies. After receiving the news, Star Tiger didn't hate Night Sorrow. He knew that if Night Sorrow attacked him, he might not be able to survive. Feeling that the 7-Star Dynasty was about done, Night Sorrow went to the Qingming Dynasty and started to burn and kill. In the current situation, Night Sorrow felt that the Tianfeng dynasty was the most difficult to deal with. After the Tianji Tower took care of the Tianfeng dynasty, the Tianfeng dynasty's territory became smaller. Therefore, it was easy to defend. Each city lord's mansion often had people whose cultivation level Night Sorrow couldn't see. After cleaning up the Qingming dynasty, Night Sorrow planned to return. He had been out for a long time. If he didn't return, others would be worried. The other dynasties were also more obedient at the border. Flying Star City's city lord's mansion had a guest. It was a green-robed woman. This woman was personally received by Star Tiger. Why did you come to this city? You can go to a better city or stay in the capital. It wasn't your fault that you couldn't defeat him last time. After sitting down in the city lord's mansion, the green-robed woman took a sip of tea and said, I don't want to stay in the capital. The atmosphere in the capital is too extravagant. It is not a good place for cultivation. As for the big cities, the city lords of the big cities have too many things to do. Their cultivation would be delayed. If it weren't for Big Nephew, he wouldn't have been able to keep an eye on Flying Star City. What's wrong? The green-robed woman asked. That Night Sorrow came again. However, he didn't touch the Flying Star City because we had fought before. Otherwise, I don't know if I could survive. This Flying Star City would definitely be in ruins. Star Tiger said with a sigh. It seems that guy isn't someone without a bottom line. He's not incurable. The green-robed woman said. She was Princess Luo of the 7-Star Dynasty. Her name was Sing Lo. Yes, I admire him. He has the courage of a man. And, look at what he did alone. The Red Leaf Dynasty didn't compromise. Our family's troops didn't retreat. Isn't it the same as admitting defeat? Star Tiger said. This is undeniable. There has never been such a person in history. He has indeed opened the river of history. And came out to capture him. However, he seems to have appeared in the territory of the Qingming dynasty. Sing Lo said. He won't stop. Who knows when he will appear again? Star Tiger said with a smile. This guy is very cautious. He also has a lot of backup plans. He's afraid of being ambushed. This time, he didn't bring a team. He's done it alone. During this time, he has destroyed many city lords' mansions. His resources are shocking. Sing Lo said with a clenched fist. And, don't tell me you want to do the same. We're not suitable. Star Tiger said with a smile. If our 7-Star Dynasty had enemies, Ant would do the same. However, our 7-Star Dynasty only has one opponent, Night Moon. This won't work. Sing Lo said with a shake of her head. When Night Sorrow returned to Sky City, he was met with looks of disdain. This time, it's your fault. It might not work with more people, but with just the two of us, it won't be a problem. Didn't we have a good working relationship in the past? Yin Huang said when he saw Night Sorrow. Yin Huang, can't you have some bottom line? Why didn't you ask the captain to lead everyone? Why did you ask the captain to lead you alone? Ling Long said angrily. I'm mainly worried that they will set us up. If we were ambushed, we would suffer heavy losses. We can't afford the consequences. Night Sorrow explained his reason. The members of the God-slaying team didn't say anything, because what Night Sorrow said was the truth. You guys go ahead. I'll go back to take a shower and tidy up. Night Sorrow looked at his clothes and said. Night Sorrow went back to take a shower and rest. Yang Lei waved to the other members of the God-slaying squad. We're going home too. Too shameless. This is a public display of affection. Ling Long looked at Yang Lei, Sikong Chuyu, and Aoi disdainfully as they followed Night Sorrow back to the mansion. Actually, you're just jealous. Yin Huang pouted. I'm jealous, my ass. I just feel aggrieved that I can't go out and fight. I have to hurry up and cultivate. It's so frustrating that I can't raise my realm. Ling Long said as she rubbed her blonde hair, which was the same as Yunhuang's. Only one positive T version, O all others are Y, is robber, O version. Chapter 666. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/little. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow returned to the mansion and went to take a bath. Yang Lei called for the servants to prepare food and wine while Sikong Chuyu brewed a pot of tea. After taking a bath, Night Sorrow felt refreshed and at ease when he saw the three girls. Drink some tea and relax. Aoi poured a cup of tea for Night Sorrow. Sixth senior sister, are you used to it? Yi Shang asked Qing Ji after taking the teacup. Everything is fine. You don't have to worry, Aoi said with a smile. Chuyu, have you noticed? 13 is a little biased. He has always doted on his sixth senior sister, Yang Lei said as she held Sikong Chuyu's hand. Night Sorrow and Aoi smiled. Actually, sixth senior sister has a gentle personality and doesn't like to talk about many things. That's why Night Sorrow is worried. We can take care of ourselves and we'll talk about it. Everyone chatted casually and the atmosphere was very harmonious. The three girls got along very well, just like sisters. Sixth senior sister, here are 2 wind attribute crystals. Take them and strengthen your attributes. Night Sorrow handed the wind attribute crystals he got from Qin Haofei to Aoi. This is good. My attributes can be strengthened too. Aoi smiled as she accepted the wind attribute crystals. Night Sorrow then told Aoi that her actual combat strength should be improved in the direction of speed. Wind attribute cultivator's strength was speed. Currently, Aoi's movement technique was flexible enough. She was elegant and free, but she lacked speed. After eating, Yang Lei suggested that the 4 of them go to the wooden boat under the lake to watch the night sky, drink tea, and chat. It was rare for Night Sorrow to have some free time, so he told the 3 girls about his trip and also about his encounter with Star Tiger. That's the right thing to do. It's better to leave some leeway in everything. Besides, he's also a member of Tianji Tower. Even if we fight against 7-star dynasty on Night Moon, it won't be awkward for us to meet in the future, Sikong Chuyu said. Most importantly, he's a very straightforward person. He says whatever he wants to say. Since that's the case, there's no need for me to make things difficult for him. Besides, choosing another city to attack won't be too difficult. Night Sorrow laughed as he explained the reason why he didn't make things difficult for Star Tiger. The environment is so beautiful. We should get a big boat in the future, the kind that we can live on. We can set it out when we have time. We can go deep into the lake and have fun for a few days, Aoi shared her opinion. Then we can find a craftsman to make one. You can decide what kind of boat you want. It's fine as long as it's comfortable. If it's too extravagant, then it's meaningless, Night Sorrow shared his opinion. Aoi and the other 2 girls nodded. They all understood Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was a casual person who didn't pursue material comforts. If Night Sorrow was such a person, then with his current wealth, he could buy as big and luxurious a mansion as he wanted. Building a large manor wouldn't be a problem. After drinking 2 cups of tea, Sikong Chuyu looked at the fish on the lake and said, "Let's grill fish under the night sky." Then you guys do it. I'll sort out the materials. Night Sorrow nodded to the 3 girls and began to sort out the harvest. The operation this time had allowed Yi Shan to earn a large amount of resources. Yi Shan now had more than a dozen extra storage rings. 2 of them were filled with high-grade crystals, 3 were filled with mid-grade crystals, and several other storage rings were filled with materials. You guys eat and play. I'll refine some pills. There are too many materials, Night Sorrow said. 13, you should keep the materials. After you enter the Venerable Realm, you'll need materials to improve your alchemy skills to the Grandmaster Realm. At that time, you'll need materials to improve your proficiency. Also, the quality of the pills you refine after you enter the Grandmaster realm will be completely different from the ones you refine now, Aoi said. That's true. Then I won't refine them for now. Night Sorrow collected the materials. Chapter 4, Chapter 4, Chapter 4, Chapter 4, Chapter 5. After eating grilled fish, they cultivated under the night sky for a while before returning to the mansion. In the following days, Night Sorrow would walk around the practice field after he finished cultivating his spear art in the morning. He would tell everyone about his understanding of actual combat. Although Night Sorrow was young, everyone admired his combat skills. They all wanted to learn from Night Sorrow's combat skills and experience. This included Yun Huang and Ling Long. In the afternoon, Night Sorrow would return to the lake to play with Tianyu and Silver Fox. Then, he would cultivate his spear art and movement technique. Aoi and the other two girls would call Night Sorrow back to the mansion after they finished cultivating every day. Night Sorrow loved the feeling of being called home every day. Yi Lingxie would often come over to talk to Night Sorrow about the situation in Night Moon City. After listening to Yi Lingxie's explanation again, Night Sorrow nodded. I still have teleportation crystals. However, if we continue to set up teleportation arrays, we will suffer heavy losses if we are attacked. That is indeed the case. For now, we should focus on the construction and recovery of Night Moon City, Wuyo City, and Wuimo City. These three cities are the foundation of Night Moon. When the clansmen return and the Night Moon City stands strong, we can build other areas, Yi Lingxie said after listening to Night Sorrow. The Night Clan has more clansmen. They don't have enough resources in the Night Moon Sea. Give these spirit stones to them for cultivation. Night Sorrow took out 3 storage rings. One of them contained high-grade spirit stones, while the other 2 contained mid-grade spirit stones. All right. However, you can't go out and fight alone anymore. It's too dangerous. Our Night Moon dynasty really can't afford to take this risk. Yi Lingxie looked at Night Sorrow and said. Currently, the core members of the Night Moon dynasty were not around. The Night Moon dynasty was in a low state. Otherwise, Night Sorrow, who was a direct descendant of the Night Moon dynasty whose innate talent surpassed all the predecessors of the Night Moon dynasty, would definitely be one of the most important people to protect. Why would they let him go out and take risks like this? Actual combat is the best way to temper a person. Without going through actual combat, how can a void inquiry stage cultivator like me fight against a venerable realm expert? I've already gotten over it. Night Sorrow said with a smile. What you said makes sense. However, there must always be a limit. Your 6th uncle is really worried about you. However, I really can't let you go out and kill like this. Yi Lingxie said. This was the limit. If a peak venerable realm expert like Yi Lingxie went to the enemy's territory to kill, the enemy would no longer tolerate it. They would directly engage in a life-and-death battle. At that time, even if the Yun clan dynasty was holding them back, the other 5 great dynasties would not stop either. It would definitely be a bloody battle. The Night Moon dynasty would be ravaged once again. Night Sorrow was different. Because Night Sorrow was not a venerable realm expert yet, the enemy certainly could not send a venerable realm expert to the Night Moon dynasty's territory to kill. It would be useless for anyone below the venerable realm to come here. If they could not achieve what Night Sorrow did, it would be no different from sending themselves to their deaths. 6th uncle, what we can control now is stability. As long as we can stabilize the situation and wait until our clansmen with high combat power return, everything will be fine. Night Sorrow looked at Yi Lingxie and said. Chapter 667. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? I'll provide you with a wonderful novel to read. I haven't seen the glory of the Night Moon dynasty, but I will witness the rise of the Night Moon dynasty once again. I will witness the process. Love go little say, Chu Night Sorrow said. You're wrong. You're a part of the rise of the Night Moon dynasty. You're an indispensable part. You're the most important part, Yilingxia said to Night Sorrow. It's not as serious as Sixth Uncle says. I'm just doing what Night Moon Dynasty's people should do, Night Sorrow said with a smile. That's not up to you or Sixth Uncle to decide. Night Moon Dynasty's people have their own judgment. Yilingxia shook his head and shook off some of his emotions. He knew that the future of the Night Moon Dynasty was given to him by Night Sorrow. The current situation of the Night Moon Dynasty was stabilized by Night Sorrow. The people of the Night Moon Dynasty were able to come out because of Night Sorrow's resources. Sixth Uncle, Night Sorrow, the food is ready. Aoi called out to Night Sorrow and Yilingxia. After that, Yi Shang and the three women ate with Yilingxia. Yilingxia was happy. He was happy to see Night Sorrow and the three women getting along well. He was happy to see Night Sorrow taking charge of things on his own. He hadn't been this happy in over 20 years. While they were eating, Wu Lingfei arrived. She had returned to the eastern Xian region some time ago. Baidu search AI go female sign shao say www.aichuxs. Xiaom when he saw Wu Lingfei, Night Sorrow got up and added a chair for her. King Ling Xia is also here. Wu Lingfei nodded at Yilingxia, who cupped his hands in greeting. Auntie Fei, is something the matter? Night Sorrow asked Wu Lingfei, who had a cold expression on her face. Yes, I just came back from the Medicine Valley. To be precise, I just came back from Taichuan behind the bamboo forest peak where you live. Wu Lingfei nodded and said. Did something happen over there? Night Sorrow stood up. Baidu search AI go female sign shao say www.aichuxs.com. Yes, there's a problem, and it's not just there. There's also a problem in the Qingtian domain, similar to what happened to Taichuan, said Wu Lingfei. What's the situation now? Night Sorrow asked worriedly. He didn't care about other places, but he couldn't ignore the Medicine Valley. P. Genuine initials XT hair, we can confirm that it's a spatial world close to the 9-domain world. The canyon behind the Medicine Valley and the spatial black hole in the Qingtian domain are connected to the 9-domain world. Now, the war in the Qingtian domain has begun. The situation in the eastern Xian domain's Medicine Valley is not serious, but the netherworld energy has already erupted. Baidu search AI go female sign shao say www.aichuxs.com, said Wu Lingfei. Night Sorrow paced back and forth anxiously. He was worried about the situation in the Medicine Valley, but he was also worried that something would happen in the Night Moon Empire after he left. He couldn't let go of this. Auntie Fei reached the entrance to Taichuan in the eastern Xian domain, but she couldn't enter. She used the power of laws to resist the pressure, but the result was a spatial collapse. After entering Taichuan, the spatial collapse continued. In fact, it was equivalent to entering spatial turbulence. She couldn't enter the real Taichuan. Your master tried to enter, but he was directly blasted out by the power of laws in Taichuan. Wu Lingfei explained the situation to Night Sorrow. In other words, it requires people below the Venerable Realm to enter? Asked Night Sorrow. That's right. Wu Lingfei nodded. What will come sooner or later. You can't avoid it even if you want to. Sixth Uncle, I'll have to trouble you with Night Moon's matter. I grew up in the eastern Xian domain, and the Medicine Valley is my sect. When they need me, I can't escape, said Night Sorrow to Yilingxia. Master Wu Kei, Night Sorrow is the only direct descendant of the Night Moon Empire. Is there no other way? Yilingxia didn't want Night Sorrow to take the risk. Every high-level cultivator knew what kind of place Taichuan was. Wait for me to finish. The entrance to the eastern Xian domain is already guarded, but the situation in the Qingtian domain is more serious. Nether beasts have already rushed out, but they were killed by the Qingtian domain's people. Saints and venerables can't enter, so they can only send in rank 5 cultivators. 2 batches went in, but only one person survived. His arm was broken, and his shoulder was bitten off by the nether beast, said Wu Lingfei. What does that have to do with me? I don't care about the Qing Tian domain's matters, said Night Sorrow resolutely. In fact, it has something to do with you. This is the crisis of the 9-domain world. Saints who control the power of laws, which is the origin energy, can feel that the origin energy of the 9-domain world is being attacked. Therefore, the saints of the 9-domain world, except for those who live in seclusion, have all gathered together to discuss how to solve this problem. In the end, they decided to ask you to come out because you are the strongest among the rank 5 cultivators. Wu Lingfei explained the current situation in detail. In other words, if the other rank 5 cultivators can't do it, then they need my child, Night Moon, to charge forward? Yi Lingxie was a bit angry. When Night Moon was in trouble, no one cared. Now that the 9-domain world was in trouble, they thought of Night Sorrow. He naturally didn't want that. The atmosphere was a bit awkward because this wasn't a small matter. It could be said that it was fatal. Yi Lingxie was right. The Silver Dusk Saints side has made their stance clear. As long as Night Sorrow is willing to fight, the Qing Tian domain will no longer pursue the matter of the Spacetime Pagoda. In other words, they admit that the Spacetime Pagoda belongs to Night Sorrow. In addition, the saints of the 9-domain world have also made it clear that for the next 100 years, all the powers of the Grand Pure Domain are not allowed to attack Night Moon's empire. Of course, Aunt Fei is only here to pass on a message. Not attacking Night Moon for 100 years? That's enough time, muttered Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow. Yi Lingxie looked at Night Sorrow and roared. Sixth uncle, I'm also risking my life to fight the other 5 dynasties. Why? It's to give our Night Moon's empire a chance to breathe. It's to buy time for our Night Clan to return. 100 years is enough for Night Moon, said Night Sorrow with a sigh. 13th junior brother, you have to think about yourself, said Aoi as she pulled on Night Sorrow's arm. Night Sorrow looked at Sikong Chuyu, Yang Lei, and Aoi. 6th senior sister, I have no other choice. The entrance to Taichuan is in Medicine Valley, in the eastern Xian region. I should have gone to fight. I was originally worried about Night Moon's empire, but since the saints of the 9 domains have given their word, that's enough. I haven't let anyone down in the past 20 years. I've never let down the heavens or the earth. It's just that I now owe Chuyu, 9th senior sister, and 6th senior sister, said Night Sorrow as he looked at Sikong Chuyu, Yang Lei, and Aoi. Sikong Chuyu, Yang Lei, and Aoi's eyes filled with tears, but they didn't say anything. They knew that Night Sorrow had already decided to fight, so they could only support him. 6th uncle, I'm sorry. Night Sorrow bowed to Yi Lingxie. Ah. Why? Yi Lingxie roared at the sky. The bitterness in his heart was indescribable. Night Sorrow was risking his life to buy time for Night Moon. He felt bitter because Night Moon's future was on the shoulders of a mere 20 years old. Aunt Fei, I still hope that you can think about it. Taichuan was once an ancient battlefield. At that time, anyone could enter and leave as they pleased. But it's not like that anymore because the space has mutated. It's hard to say what's going on inside, said Wu Lingfei. Chapter 668. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/little. We will provide you with wonderful novels to read. Auntie Fei, you can go back. Tell them I accept the challenge. Before I go, I want to pay my respects to the Night Clan's ancestors, Night Sorrow said to Wu Lingfei. Then go back and tell them. Auntie Fei will come back. Wu Lingfei nodded and left Sky City. She wanted to object to Night Sorrow's decision, but she had no reason to. Night Sorrow wanted to buy time for Night Moon and also fight for the 9 zones. Yi Lingxie also left. He felt very sad, but he wanted to give Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu some space. 13, can we not go? Yang Lei said as she pulled Night Sorrow's hand. 9th senior sister, as a man, there are some things I can't avoid, Night Sorrow said in a low voice. Aoi and Sikong Chuyu didn't say anything. They knew that no one could change Night Sorrow's decision. Yi Shang picked up the teacup and took a sip. He looked at the three women with a smile on his face. I've been through a lot of storms and waves. When have I not returned safely? This time will be the same. Night Sorrow and the three girls quietly finished their dinner. Then, they took the teleportation array and rushed to Night Moon City. When the four of them came out of the teleportation array, they found that the path to Night Moon City was filled with people. They were all citizens of Night Moon. Everyone looked sad because Night Sorrow had said that Night Moon would fight for 100 years with his life. Night Moon's young master, the noblest young master, was going to fight for everyone with his life. How could the people of Night Moon feel good? Night Sorrow nodded at the people on both sides. Then, he led the three girls to Night Moon City. Night Moon City was already under repair. Many places had already been renovated. Yi Shang took the three women to the central area of the Night Moon sky. Yi Shang took a look at the steel and then turned to look at the Night Moon Hall that was originally dilapidated but had been repaired. Looking at the groove, Night Sorrow took out the stone tablet from his storage ring. After wiping the dust off it, Night Sorrow jumped into the air. His left finger moved, and the groove for Night Moon City's tablet to hang a bit bigger. Then, with a wave of his right hand, Night Sorrow pushed the tablet into the groove. J equals newer, L the soonest AEW a Night Moon City. Yi Lingxie shouted. What followed was a chorus of cheers. Night Sorrow returned to the stone tablet and took the incense that Yi Linglan had lit for him. Yi Clan's ancestors, Night Sorrow of the Yi Clan offers incense to the ancestors. Night Sorrow will go to battle. With Night Sorrow's battle, the Night Moon dynasty will once again stand tall in the Nine Domains world. Perhaps Night Sorrow won't be able to see that glorious scene, but knowing that it will come is enough. Night Sorrow bowed and inserted the incense into the cauldron. Put on the king's battle armor. Yi Lingxie waved his arm. At that moment, Yi Xiaoyuan and Yi Xiaoyun walked over with a large red tray. Yi Lingxie walked up to the tray and touched the pure white battle armor. In the past, whenever the Yi clan's emperor or prince went to battle, they would always wear our Night Moon's king's battle armor. Wherever they went, they were invincible. This time, sixth uncle will put on the battle armor for you. At that moment, he was an elder of the clan and speaking as Night Sorrow's sixth uncle. Sixth uncle, Night Sorrow doesn't have the right. Night Sorrow shook his head because he heard Yi Lingxie's words. Those were the battle armor of the emperor and prince. If you don't have the right, who does? You are the pride of Night Moon. Be obedient. Yi Lingxie's voice was choked and his body trembled. It was clear that his heart wasn't calm. Young master, please change. Night Moon's citizens all bowed. At that moment, Yi Lingxie grabbed the battle armor with both hands and shook it. The battle armor unfurled in the wind. It was a pure white battle armor with silver stars embroidered on the chest. The stars surrounded a bright moon. Aoi reached out to help Night Sorrow take off his outer robes. Yi Lingxie then draped the king's battle armor over Night Sorrow's body. Greetings, young master. Seeing Yi Lingxie help Night Sorrow put on the king's battle armor, Night Moon citizens all knelt on one knee. Rise. Night Sorrow waved his arm. Sixth uncle, everyone. When I, Night Sorrow, return, I will drink and chat with everyone here. Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards everyone and then led the three women to the teleportation array. Farewell, young master. We await your triumphant return. Seeing Night Sorrow's back, Yi Lingxie bowed. Everyone else knelt on one knee again. When they reached the teleportation array, Night Sorrow turned around and waved at everyone. Then, he nodded at Yi Lingxie and started the teleportation array. Night Sorrow returned to Sky City and went directly to the lake. Tianyu and Silver Fox were playing here. Sixth senior sister, Tianyu will fight with me. Silver Fox will stay behind for you to take care of, Night Sorrow said to Aoi as he reached out to pet Silver Fox. Silver Fox was the closest to Aoi. When he was young, Aoi had taken care of him, so they had some feelings for each other. While Night Sorrow was staring at the lake, Wu Lingfei arrived. Behind her were the members of the god-slaying team. "Captain, can't you bring us along?" Ho Jian asked Night Sorrow. "No, I can't. Everyone should cultivate well. When I return, I want to see a different side of you," Night Sorrow said. "Night Sorrow, don't reject me. I won't be a burden to you," Yun Huang said as he took 2 steps forward. "Me too. I won't be a burden to you either." Ling Long also walked to Yun Huang's side. "Night Sorrow, don't reject me yet. Bring everyone to the entrance of Taichuan. Go in and take a look. If it's possible, bring everyone in. If it's dangerous, then we'll decide," Wu Lingfei said. Night Sorrow nodded at Wu Lingfei and looked at Ma Zhuang and the others. "Ma Zhuang, Tang Tian, Chu Ning, pack up and return to the Medicine Valley." 13th uncle, why is that?" Chu Ning asked anxiously. "Cut the crap. Do as I say," Night Sorrow growled. Then, he looked at Aoi, Yang Lei, and Sikong Chuyu. "Night Sorrow, don't say anything. When we paid our respects to the ancestors of the Yi clan, I said that I'm Aoi of the Yi clan. Isn't that enough?" Aoi said. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow nodded. Even if they were at the entrance of Taichuan, it was still up to him to decide whether the god-slaying team could enter or not. Then, under Wu Lingfei's lead, the group rushed to the Qingtian region. The entrance of Taichuan was in Dongshang City. After teleporting to Dongshang City, Night Sorrow asked everyone to put on their masks. After flying for half an hour, the group arrived in front of a big mountain outside Dongshang City. Black energy was rolling in front of the mountain. There were many camps in front of the mountain. Many people were already stationed there. Wu Lingfei led a group of people to the big tent in the middle. As soon as they arrived in front of the tent, a group of people walked out. The person in front was Xie Lanjun. Half a body's length behind her was a silver-haired woman. Night Sorrow knew that this person was the Qingtian region saint, Yin Shi. She was also one of the people who wanted the space-time pagoda. Chapter 669. A genius remembers love in 1 second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow nodded and looked at the others. Night Sorrow knew that they were all saints. Then, Night Sorrow's eyes fell on Saint Silver Dusk. "You don't have to look at me like that. I said that as long as you fight for the 9-domain world, I won't mention anything about the space-time pagoda," Yin Shi said to Night Sorrow. "I really don't care about that. Could it be that you, a saint, are going to steal my treasures? I am fighting for the 9-domain world. It has nothing to do with the space-time treasure pagoda because the space-time treasure pagoda has always been mine," Night Sorrow said as he looked at Yin Shi. "You." Yin Shi was rendered speechless by Night Sorrow's words. "All right, let's not talk about this anymore. The result will be the same anyway," Xie Lanjun said with a smile. She really liked Night Sorrow. She liked Night Sorrow's domineering aura. Even if the person standing in front of her was a saint, so what? Similarly, he was unwilling to admit defeat. "Who is Chen Yuan?" Night Sorrow asked after glancing around. "I am Tai Yuan Saint. Show some respect." Chen Yuan was enraged when Night Sorrow called him by his name. He was a saint, but Night Sorrow had no respect for him at all. "Respect? Why should I respect him? Have you done anything worthy of my respect?" Night Sorrow stared at Chen Yuan. Baidu search AI go female sign shao say www.aichuxs.com. You really deserve to die. How dare you be so arrogant in front of me? Chen Yuan was furious. It was fine if Night Sorrow didn't respect him, but he didn't give him any face at all. "Ha! I deserve to die. Are you planning to attack me?" Night Sorrow sneered. "Chen Yuan, that's enough. We've tolerated your past actions. What else do you want? Xia Lanjun glared at Qin Yuan coldly. I want to know, if I fight, Night Moon will be safe for 100 years. Can you guarantee that? Night Sorrow asked. Of course. All of you have to make a promise in front of Night Sorrow. Xia Lanjun looked at the saints behind her and said. Following this, the others nodded and one of the elders said, You're fighting for the 9 domains world. Anyone who doesn't keep their word will be provoking all of us, and no one will tolerate it. However, if Night Moon declares war, this rule will be voided. That's good. I'll fight later. After confirming the saint's promise, Night Sorrow nodded. He didn't need to ask for anything in the Medicine Valley. As long as Wu Lingfei was there, the Medicine Valley would be safe. Alright, you guys go get some rest. I'll tell you about the entry later, Xia Lanjun said to Night Sorrow. After that, Night Sorrow led the god-slaying squad to set up camp. The other saints also entered the large tent to discuss matters. Qin Yuan, what happened back then is in the past. We won't pursue it any further. If you still want to cross the line, don't blame me for not tolerating you. If something goes wrong in this matter, I'll investigate it to the end, Xia Lanjun said. If anyone goes back on their word, I'll fight them to the end. Wu Lingfei also expressed her attitude. Qin Yuan's expression didn't look too good. This was all directed at him. After setting up camp, Night Sorrow gathered everyone in the large tent in the center. Don't take off your masks. You still have to hide your identities. Currently, many of the people here are our enemies. Night Sorrow didn't care about himself. It didn't matter whether he knew them or not. However, he was very concerned about the safety of the god-slaying squad. Everyone nodded. They knew that this was very important. It's good that you know. We'll discuss the battle plan later depending on the situation, Night Sorrow said. After Night Sorrow arranged for everyone to rest, Xia Lanjun, Silver Dusk Saint, and the old man who spoke earlier came over. Wu Lingfei also followed them into the tent. Night Sorrow, this is Zhen Haixing of the North Sea Domain. The blue-robed old man was introduced to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow greets Zhen Haixing. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Zhen Haixing. No need to be so polite, young man. You're a good man. Zhen Haixing nodded at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow ignored Silver Dusk Saint because he was on opposing sides. The matter between him and Ji Yu's family wasn't over. Xia Lanjun then explained the situation. The black hole in front of the mountain wall was the entrance to the Supreme River ancient battlefield. A few days ago, everyone had sent people in, but their life tablets had all shattered. The longest person had only survived for 5 minutes. There was one person who didn't leave the tunnel, but he was severely injured. He said that the Supreme River ancient battlefield was filled with terrifying nether beasts. Anyone who entered would be surrounded. I expected this situation. What's my mission? Night Sorrow asked. Find out what's going on in this space. The Supreme River ancient battlefield. Other than the 9 regions world, which other worlds are connected to? Xia Lanjun said. Then I'll say it. According to what you said, I'm going in to investigate. However, even if I find the tunnel, I don't know what restrictions there are. If there are restrictions, I can't enter. How do I know what worlds are connected to? Night Sorrow asked. We'll give you some memory crystals. You can record it and analyze it when you come back, Xia Lanjun said. Okay. Night Sorrow nodded. Also, make a life tablet and leave a trace of your soul power here. We'll know if you're okay, Silver Sunset Sage said to Night Sorrow. There's no need for that. Andi Fei, take this. You'll know what's going on. Night Sorrow took the ice silk bag from his waist and handed it to Wu Lingfei. Then, Xia Lanjun gave Night Sorrow a few crystal balls. Okay, I'll go out tomorrow, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. Then, Xia Lanjun, Silver Sunset Sage, and True Ocean Sage left. However, Wu Lingfei didn't leave. She still had a lot to say to Night Sorrow. "Auntie Fei, if I don't come back, help me look after the Medicine Valley," Night Sorrow said to Wu Lingfei. "What nonsense are you talking about? You'll definitely come back. You can move freely in the death space, and you can do the same this time. If you feel that you're lacking a lot after entering, find a place to go into seclusion and enter the Venerable Realm. Then, your ability to protect yourself will be strengthened again," Wu Lingfei advised Night Sorrow. "Okay, I know. I have the Spacetime Pagoda to protect me. It won't be that easy to kill me," Night Sorrow said with a smile. "The Golden Phoenix soft armor consumes a lot of energy for you now, but it can still block the opponent's sure-kill attack at a critical moment. Once you enter the Venerable Realm, you'll be able to use it freely," Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow still had the protective bracelet given to him by Tianji Tower, but it was useless. It would shatter after a few attacks from a beginner Venerable Realm expert. It was useless. ## Unique VX Original 8 Edition. Question: everyone else is a thief /W edition. The God Slaying Squad insisted on coming, but I don't want to bring them in. It's too dangerous. Auntie Fei will bring them back to the Eastern Profound region later. The outside world is too chaotic, and several dynasties want to kill them. Night Sorrow was a little worried about the God Slaying Squad. "Don't worry, you're Auntie Fei's relative. Auntie Fei will arrange everything for you. What you need to do is to investigate the situation inside while preserving your life." This is a map of the ancient Taichuan battlefield that Auntie Fei found in the Tianji Tower's library. Take a look at it carefully. Wu Lingfei took out a yellowed map for Night Sorrow. "You're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.